Guess who's Blizzack? Salute to everyone in the building, man. Salute. Please press a 1. If anyone's in the live stream right now, please press a 1 just to confirm that the sound is good, please. Do me that favor. It's a dreary Thursday evening here in London, UK. You know, miserable weather. We're probably feeling a bit depressed. I see the one. Salute, bros in the chat. So, first of all, this is going to be the last call-in live stream. Okay, I'm going to go into detail as to why that is. I've already mentioned why in the self-refinement city. And yeah, so that's why I had to play the dry your the dry your eyes, mate. I know the blah 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 blah. You ain't been waiting. Okay, but I think, you know, over the course of these call-in shows, live streams, a reoccurring theme has been this idea of feeling at home here in the UK as Black people, you know, second, third generation Black people of African or Caribbean descent or other descent, right? So I only think that it's best that we round off these streams with this type of topic, right? Should Black British people leave the UK, right? I'm going to pull up a few stats that might be for staying and some reasons why I think this group should leave, right? But I'm trying to be rational and balanced, like BBC News, you know what I mean? So basically, if you agree that Black people should leave the UK, and if you want to jump on or if you want to stay in the chat, I want to ask you where to, right? And then I want to ask you why. As in, what are your reasons as to why you have the opinion that Black people should leave the UK? And also, if so, how? Right? As a group, do we have the economics? Do we have the skill sets? Maybe even the attention span to stay up to date with our skill sets or to maybe learn new languages, right? So that is the show today. Okay. So yeah, as I said, first let me salute everyone in the building, man. Classic salute to everyone in the building. Who was first in? It was Eon001. Salute to you, bro. I see your post. Let's read it out. He says, I have no burning desire to leave, but I do want to travel. UK will always be my home. When you've lived here for decades, it's hard to just up and leave indefinitely. That's a real statement. That's a real statement. He also mentions the theme tune at the beginning, Dry Your Eyes, mate. Man, that's a tune that many people in this arena need to hear, man. Salute to Diego Harry in the building. Salute. He says, yo, we got Ifechi Michael in the building. Salute to you, bro. Good to see you. And he is the first one to show some sponsorship tonight, man. I really appreciate your support, bro. You know, I don't think I've told you enough how much I appreciate your support. Right? Like, I think some of your topics as well in the Discord inspire some of the streams, you know. So, I really hope these streams have, you know, given you at the very least some form of entertainment. But, you know, as a bro, I appreciate you. We've got Ephraim Mackworth in the building. So, hey, let me say it properly, man. Salute for the £1 super chat, man. I appreciate that. We've got Ephraim Mackworth in the building. We've got someone called YouTube Analyst in the building. They say, leave. We're not natives here anyway. And someone called Bronzebird in the building. Salute to everyone in the building. You know, it's a miserable day here in London. It's been snowing yesterday. Man, I feel like, I don't know, malaise. I just feel out of it, to be honest. But like I said, this is going to be the last call-in show, the last kind of, you know, this style of stream. And to be honest, I think with me, I'm just the type of person that needs to upgrade, or needs to transform to do something new. Right, I've been doing this since for coming up to almost a year. Right, like these reoccurring live streams throughout the week, and they do take its toll, man. I had to sacrifice good night's sleep, and sleep is a massive part of the health and fitness that I'm trying to champion as well. Had to sacrifice spending the good parts of my evenings, and I like doing this, but again, it can take its toll. You know what I mean? And I think that I also need to boost my pre-records, because I do want to master the art of creating a video that might be meaningful, might be motivational, might just be pure entertainment, right? And I've got all the hardware to deliver that, right? And I think in many cases, the live streams can be like a lazy person's way to, to stay in touch, right? And so I kind of want to, I need to do more, man. And also with regard, for the fact that I'm a small channel, live streams don't help growth for a small channel. There needs to be a solid bedrock of videos, of especially evergreen videos that people are constantly watching on YouTube. So live streams end up, for a small channel, ends up being like a mainly for the current subscribers to engage in, which is good. But I also want to test my limits with what I can do. At the start of this year, I promised a few other styles of videos, which I want to get into as well. Right. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I've also had to deal with a lot of kind of deranged people via these live streams. I've had to be a bit too close to people that are really, in normal situations, I won't spend any time with. Right. I think that's taking its toll. I don't want to be dealing with, I live a peaceful life. I don't need no headaches just because I've logged onto YouTube. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think all in all, man, call-in format for a small channel is a dying breed of, live stream. Right. Again, especially for a small channel, I think podcasts are the wave in person. Creative shorts and the normal style videos. I think in many cases, man, I think a live stream is just like a dopamine rush, right? It's like that type of content that you just use to fill out. There might be nothing on TV right now, so you might, I might as well just listen to this live stream. Nothing else is on, type of thing. And again, I like to go back to my foundations, to my roots. I like to, I'm all about health and fitness, right? And I don't think I'm leading by example by having late night streams and going to bed at like 1 a.m. Right. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing messy. I'm always obviously going to be making content, just going to lock off the call-in shows. Right. But salute to everyone in the building, everyone who's, contributed to them. You know what I mean? Appreciate everyone. Schultz help. Bronzebird says, yep, I actually see that. I think live streams should be like a special occasion. Normally, traditionally, it was when you've reached a milestone with videos or your subscribers and something. Normally, you do like a cool, you do a question and answer live stream, right? And like I said, I just feel like live stream is a cheap way of being engaged with you guys. It can be quite tacky, the quality. Like right now, I'm not an avatar guy. I like to showcase my equipment, my quality, right? But because time is tight, I need to do it like this, and I don't like that. I like to deliver some good quality stuff, Right, but with that being said, man, check out the Self-Refinement City Discord if you want to be engaged with further content. The links will be below shortly after this video's aired. But let's get to it, man. Like I said, Black British people, should they leave the UK? You know, obviously we got a branch of brothers, the so-called passport bros, who will always preach the idea of traveling, right? But I just want to point out, and these are kind of cheap stats, but I want to point out a few stats that at least make it seem like Black British people in the UK are doing well and are happy and are somewhat content. Okay, because I guess with all these with all the stats that I bring up, it's always good leaning to the negativity, right? The crime, the STDs, you know, all the bad stuff. Never ever hear good stuff coming out of these stats. So I just want to, let's go through a few stats quickly, quite briefly, that might indicate that Black British people are actually doing better than most people think. Okay, so let me hit the theme tune. Let me hit the share screen. What we got? Let's see. Oof, I don't want to show that, man. I got all my private stuff hanging out right here. Let's see. Okay. So I just want to go through a quick reel of a few stats, you know, that kind of paint a good picture for Black British people. No, you can't have my cookies, man. Ask me for these cookies. Let me zoom in a little bit. So again, I can only go through them briefly. I normally share the links for these stats in the chat, so there you go if you want to read about the methodology and all of that. But this first stat that I want to kind of read about is influencing local decisions, last published on the 23rd of September 2020. Okay, so main facts and figures. In the year ended March 2020, just over a quarter of people said they felt they could influence decisions in affecting their local area. Okay, let's go straight to ethnicity. Okay, so these stats based in England, and the source was Community Life Survey 2019-2020. We can see all the ethnicities, percentage of people aged 16 and over who felt they could influence decisions in their local area by ethnicity. And lo and behold, the Black groups score the highest in this stat. Now, I know what you're saying, oh, it's a stat, you know, the source might not be good and it could be easily manipulated. Yeah, I understand, but, you know, this is a cheap way to see a picture, right? To kind of back up a sentiment, right? So when it comes to influence and local decisions, it seems like Black people feel quiet, able to influence local decisions. And I think I can understand that to a degree, because especially back in the day, maybe at least 20 years ago, there was a strong community ethos, right? There was always a community center. People always getting together in the estates, talking about stuff. I remember back in the day, some people organizing trips like to Belgium, to France, you know, and people always typically getting together trying to change how the estate is, right? So that could be one reason to stay, that you have you have a strong influence in this area. Okay, let's see what's next. The feeling of belonging to Britain. Okay, so 84% of people aged 16 and over in England said they felt strongly that they belonged to Britain in the year to March 2020. Okay, let's jump to the ethnicities over time. So again, it's England, right? Same survey. Percentage of respondents who feel fairly or very strongly that they belong to Britain by ethnicity. Okay, we've got all the ethnic groups, and the highest scoring the black ethnic groups. Okay, 86 again. Right? So feeling of belonging to Britain. Right? So they will ask questions, how do you feel? Do you feel this or that? And it seems that the majority of black people feel like, at least the black people they surveyed, felt like they, felt like they belonged. I wonder if you guys in the chat agree. Press a 2 if you feel like you belong in Britain. Press a 1 if you feel like you don't belong in Britain. This is for the live, the man them in the chat. Press a 2 if you feel like you belong in Britain. Hit a 1 if you feel like you don't belong in Britain. Okay, so that's the feeling of belonging in Britain. Let's see a next stat. What do we have next? We got, okay, internet use. Internet use. This might seem odd, but I mean, what this means to me is that people having access to a key bit of infrastructure, right? So internet use. In 2019, 90.8% of people aged 16 and over had used the internet in the 3 months prior to being surveyed. So for me, again, it signifies, I guess, freedom to some degree, right? To use the internet to surf wherever you want. Don't have crazy firewalls blocking you from all this, all this content on YouTube. Okay? So we've got all the ethnic groups. Location was the whole United Kingdom. Percentage of people aged 16 and over who had used the internet in the past 3 months by ethnicity. Okay, obviously being fairly high for all groups, but black people, 92.8%, which is, it signifies that black people are using the internet, enjoying the freedoms of a quote unquote liberal country, right? Enjoying all the pornography, all the TikToks and all the, Falcon Blizzak shows. Right, so you're fairly happy because you have, you're able to use this bit of infrastructure. But okay, I'm seeing 1.5 with regards to feeling at home in the UK. Okay, 1.5s I'm seeing 1.5. So people are half in there. Zach Beers says, "I don't feel like I belong here." I hear you. Okay, let's go on to the next stat. And excuse me, apologies, man. These were last minute stats. So I was always thinking about doing a stream where we actually do positive in stats. So I just thought, let me just do a quick reel since the last one. So renting social housing. One might ask, why is that? Why would that be a benefit? I think for me, that means that, hey, the ability to rent a cheap property with a lot of what is it called? You get a lot of benefits, right? You don't have to worry about fixing the plumbing or the drainage and all of those services. Someone will always be on deck for free, right? So in 2016 to 2018, 17% of households in England lived in social housing. They rented their home from a local authority or housing association, aka Southwark, Lambeth. Okay, so let's jump straight to ethnicity. In England, and the source is the English Housing Survey 2017 to 2018, quite old. Percentage of households that rented social housing by ethnicity. Okay, so we see all the ethnic groups. Highest, one of the highest, Bangladeshi at 33%. We got mixed white and black African at 41%, white British at 16%, right? We got Arab quite high at 32%, but the highest, black African, 44%. And near about, we got black Caribbean at 40%. So I mean, affordable housing. I mean, sure, the areas might not be the best, but this signifies that the country has, there is some, courtesy, right, to offer immigrants cheaper housing, whether rightfully or wrongfully, right? And the white British are typically not using it to the same degree. So it seems like Black African people in particular are being serviced with social housing quite well, right? Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, entry rates into higher education. Pupils from, we get what it is. Entry rates into higher education, into university, published March 2022, just last year. So let's see by ethnicity over time. This is for England, and the source was UCAS, okay? So up there, I mean, yes, without, we can get it. We understand Chinese people flying up there with getting their place into university. Next up, we got Asian. So they're referring to Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi. They're up there over almost at 60%. And in the third spot, we got Black. Right, the dark blue club, we got Black having access to a place in higher education, and it seems to be higher than the rates of which white British get their places. Okay, again, it's a bit crude, but I mean, for me, this showcases that at least to some degree, the ideas of racism might be a bit laxed, right? Because for me, education is the doorway to success, right? So it's nice to see that Black people get good rates of placements within higher education. Okay. So again, quite lewd, quite crude, but I think it's meaningful to see what what Black people aren't, the areas of life Black people aren't doing too bad in. But okay, those might be some reasons why it seems like Black British people in the UK are doing all right. But I want to go into at least 5 reasons why you should emigrate from the UK as a Black British person, particularly as a Black British man. Okay, but let me read out super chat. Oh, it's good to see the pounds in the building. Zach Beers with the £5 super chat. I really appreciate that. And let me not forget. For all my super chatters tonight, this is the feed. Oh yeah. Salute Zach Biz. I appreciate the super chat. He says, I'd like to leave as the UK is obviously comfortable, but mentally it's a drain. This is the stuff that you might need to expound on when we open up the lines, if you want to jump on. Why is the UK mentally draining to you? Right. But I appreciate the £5 super chat from Zach Beers. Salute to you. And again, salute to Ifechi Michael as well. That tune's for you as well. Okay. 5 reasons why you should emigrate, in my opinion. Okay. First of all, the weather. The weather is probably a great reason to move, and I don't just mean that because of comfort's sake. Because of the sake of being comfortable and enjoying the sun. But I've always believed, even though the research might be a little bit perhaps incomplete, right? But I think one of the biggest sources of depression for Black people in Europe and the UK, especially, is the lower vitamin D. And I've made a video on this. Okay, vitamin D is one of the deficiency in vitamin D will cause depression. You know, and the type of lethargy that a lot of people cite and feeling here, I think it's in relation to the weather and the lack of vitamin D. And as this article say, Black people require vitamin D. Darker skinned people in general require much more vitamin D than average. Okay. So vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D is needed for healthy bones and muscles. Sunlight is our main source of vitamin D. Groups at increased risk of vitamin D deficiency are people with darker skin, including those from an African, Caribbean, or South Asian background, those who are not often outdoors, aka you work from home dons, you know, you guys working from home, you guys who probably don't typically go out that much anyway, like all of us, right? Probably all of us in this live stream right now. And those who cover up most of their skin when outdoors. Okay, so everyone in the UK is advised to take a daily supplement containing 10 micrograms. That's 400 international units of vitamin D. And 400 IU is trash. 400 IU is super low. The supplement I take from the Now brand is it's at 10,000 IU, and I take one of that a day. Okay, and this is another thing actually, man, because you see, obviously we're in the UK, we're in Europe, so in most cases our care providers are going to be white, right? So there's going to be a conflict in information that they give you, right? Your average white doctor, and I'm sure they're getting better, but your average white doctor probably will say the same thing to you. Oh, all you need is 400 IU a day, right? And you're probably black as this TV, and you're being recommended the same amount of vitamin D as as a Caucasian person. 400 IU is super low, but of vitamin D during the autumn and winter months, man, you should take vitamin D all throughout the year, because even when we do get the sun, it's trash. You know, it's overcast. You're getting like 3 weeks of strong sun in the UK, and that's it. When we cannot make vitamin D from the sunlight. Okay, so be aware of the difference between public health advice on supplementation and clinical treatment of deficiency. Okay. Low-income families in the UK who receive one of a range of income-related benefits and tax credits may qualify for the Healthy Start scheme. So there's some support. Okay. So yeah, I mean, most of you should know this information, and I've touched on this in other videos, which if you're watching the playback, you see the link to that video above. But yeah, the weather is a big reason why one might consider to emigrate, because I really do believe it's a big reason why a lot of us have this lethargic mental disposition, right? Like, it must affect us darker skinned people in a different way, you know. And obviously that's not anyone's fault, but it's just what it seems to be, right? I got a super chat in the building. Let me read the super chat. You see what I mean, man? I need all the equipment to get all this, to get a live stream popping, man, to have all the sound beats, you know? So I'm not fussing around like this, but salute to Inflated Ego for the €2 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. He says leaving the UK last year was the best thing I did. Interesting. Where did you go, bro? Someone who's actually done it. You know, that is someone who I want to hear from, not these these young dudes. Oh yeah, I'm gonna travel everywhere. I'm gonna move to Japan. Yeah, the Japanese women, they really want us. Yeah, they really want us. Yeah. Salute to you, Inflated Ego. He left the UK last year, and that was the best thing he did, man. I'm curious to know where you went. But okay, let me breeze through my list, man. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight vitamin D because I think that is a really big reason, you know, why a lot of us have this malaise, like this inhibition, right? Okay, what's the next reason why you should emigrate? And I think this one is a no-brainer, man, but a reason why you should emigrate is the culture, or the quote-unquote culture. And again, this is something that we've spoken about so many times, right? We go deep into the negatives of the music, the imagery, the optics, the carnival, for example. And I think at this point, even though I don't normally mention, I don't always sound like a Debbie Downer when I talk about the culture, man, because it's easy to just overly look at the negative. But I think, to be honest with you, man, at this point, the so-called culture is unsalvageable. Okay, the depth of the griminess in the music, the discord between black men and black women. If we keep it 100, there is discord between black men and black women. Even if you're pro-black and you don't want to see it, you at one point you're going to open up your eyes. There is a discord. There is an issue, right? And the fact that there's no real black British culture, when you think about it, there's no real black British culture. What is a black Brit? A black Brit is a group of people lumped into this grouping just off of skin color. What is the culture? It seems like there's no deep-rooted history that you can kind of be proud of and you can kind of fondly look upon and read out, right? And like people said, there's that lack of feeling like you belong. I've mentioned many times, man, a lot of black people out here walking the streets alone, particularly men or even women with kids, right? I can see the depression. To be fair, I do the same things. I'm normally alone. I've had to distance myself from a few people a long time ago because of the so-called culture, right? And the thing about people not feeling like they belong is that it will lead into other negative traits, like feeling unmotivated, right? Feeling lethargic. Then to the point where you want to stay at home, especially post-pandemic. You want to stay in. You don't want to go out and socialize. You don't want to be out and about, right? And we just spoke about vitamin D. So you're getting a decreased amount of vitamin D and exposure to the elements, to the sun. Antisocial, depressed. I'm sure we all know that when we hit depression or depressive-like feelings, it's very, very hard to get out of. right? So the culture, or the quote unquote culture, is one reason to leave. The third reason why Black British people should consider leaving, I think the rat race of the city, right? And I say the city because that's where most Black people are in the UK, in the cities, right? So we are certainly linked to the stress of the city life, right? And that in itself is draining. The city is congested. You have to pay a congestion fee. So therefore, you're probably taking public transport, taking the tube that is packed in the morning when you're going to work, taking a bus that is crammed, so crammed that you can't take the bus that's coming. You have to wait for the next bus because it's packed, right? This congestion causes stress. You have a lack of space. And then we just spoke about bad weather. You add the congestion with the bad weather. What does that leave you with mentally? When you come home from a long day, you're already getting bollocked in the office, in your place of work. Then you get bad weather. Then you get a congested city. You get public transport that is gonna mess up when it receives one flake of snow on the roads or on the track. Right? It's stressful, it's draining. And also it's super competitive. The economy is super competitive. And we're in a super competitive economy, particularly if you live in the big cities. When I was looking through the stats, I saw a stat that stated that only 20% of Black people get a first-class degree when they go to university. So if the economy is already very competitive, and then you're getting a low-class certification, and you're trying to apply for some of these jobs where other people are technically above you, I guess particularly for Black people, it's going to be even a much harder journey, right? I mean, I could be reaching, but that's kind of what I think. So third is the rat race of the city. Let me quickly read out this super chat, man, and let me do the honors, man. Let me do what I need to do for that super chat. And that's from Inflated Ego of the €2 super chat. I really appreciate the consistent support, man. And to be honest, man, you guys who've donated, like, for me, it just shows that all this talk of supporting, quote unquote, support Black businesses, that you put your money where your mouth is, right? Because I've had so many people come up and talk all this blackity black. But they'll be the last person to actually support a Black business, right? People can mess with you for years and just have every excuse to not support you in a way that really matters, right? This is why some people think I'm being too I'm just being too irate when I say things like hit the super chat if you want me to do something for you. Because I think it's very important that Black men especially understand that if they request things off of people, there is a trade, right? There is a give and take. You don't ask things of people for nothing. But I think that's just something that's been so normalized in this society, in this community, that I think it's just messed up. But anyway, Inflated Ego says Luxembourg. It's near the border of France, Germany. Okay, so he's left the UK to Luxembourg. That's interesting. Isn't it tax-free over there? Isn't it not like Switzerland? That's very unique. Of got a childhood friend that actually moved to Luxembourg. But salute to you. Appreciate the super chat. Salute to Inflate Ego in the building. But yeah, so the rat race of the city. The fourth reason, 4 out of 5. The fourth out of 5 reasons why you should probably move is the infrastructure. So quite linked to the last point. But so okay, you get your skill set up, you go and get your qualifications, and then when you finally want to, I don't know, like purchase a house, right? It's probably going to be a small house in comparison to most other countries, right? And I think the services in the UK are starting to dwindle. So I think there's an air of a poorer quality of services. Like I mentioned before, bad roads pertaining to the infrastructure. The NHS is another key point, right? The NHS, so many times I remember going to the doctors and it seemed like they were mostly interested in kicking me out as soon as they could, rather than to hear my issue. And even when I did express what my problem was, they're typically reading a big book, so they're getting, they're getting their solution for me from something that I could have done by myself. I could have Googled my problem and got the remedy, right? So the NHS getting messed up. I think the politics over here as well, the government is not solid. I think things like Brexit has been effing up the economy too. Right? And all of this is just leading to a poorer infrastructure, poorer economic standing, a poorer life standard. Right? And I think some of us can feel that. And the last point I want to raise before I put in the link if anyone wants to jump on is, and let me say this without a beat, man. The last reason why you should probably move out of the UK, man, is the justice system. The justice system, okay? Let me go back to my stats and let me bring this up. And without any music, man, let me bring this up because it's vital. This stat asks if you have confidence in your local police. Okay, let's go to ethnicity over time. England and Wales, 2013 to 2020. This was a crime survey, and this is for the percentage of people aged 16 and over who had confidence in their local police by ethnicity over time. Okay. So we see Asian, starts at about 8%, and hovers just over 70% in terms of having confidence in the police. We see white British, thereabouts as well, 70 to 8% in terms of confidence in the local police. But then we go to the black group, and then it's already, already hovering around 70%, and then it's completely dwindled recently towards 60%. So basically, confidence in local police, confidence in the people who are supposed to protect you and serve you is declining. And I think we can understand why. Why do you think this is? Who knows why why black people have less confidence in the police in the UK? Because this is important, man. Stop and search. Stop and search, okay? There were 12.4 stop and searches for every 1,000 people, down from 24.8 per 1,000 people in the year ending March 2010, okay? There were 7.5 stop and searches for every 1,000 white people, compared with 52.6 for every 1,000 black people. Diego in the building. He says police don't take crimes reported by black people seriously. That's a great point, man. That's a great point. That's a great point. I remember when my beloved, one of my first Yamaha motorbikes back in 2012 got stolen in Hackney, right underneath CCTV. I went to the local police station, and the answer I got was, we unfortunately do not have the resources to go through all of this CCTV footage. Right, so a £3,000 bike that was sitting in a car park right underneath a camera within the space of I would say like 8 hours. They could not be bothered to look through. So that's a good point. So okay, stop and search. Let's go by ethnicity, because again, this is important. This is the justice system, right? So England and Wales, April 2020 to March 2021, the source police powers and procedures, England and Wales, okay? So stop and search rate per 1,000 people by ethnicity. Okay, we've got the Asian groups sitting at about 17.8 per 1,000 people being stopped and searched. White people, we've got 7.5 out of 1,000 being stopped and searched by police. Mixed, we've got 17.5 per 1,000 people getting stopped and searched. But then when we come to the black total group, 52.6 out of 1,000 people are being stopped and searched. Okay, 52.6 out of every 1,000 people being stopped and searched. Okay, so I think this is a key reason why it's understandable if black people want to emigrate, right? Because I think this reason leads into the biggest reason, and that's not feeling like you belong. I think even now I have I mean, let me tell you, when did I last get stopped and searched? I've been stopped and searched probably about 3 times in my life that I can remember right now. And the one that's most memorable was when I was a young teenager. I was a young teenager, just riding my mountain bike, going down Old Kent Road, and then all of a sudden, a bully van, a police van, just pulled up beside me and said, blah, 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 we have reason to search you, blah, blah, blah. And this was me, like 13, 14, just minding my own business, probably going to the shops to pick something up. Right? Stopped and searched, police full of, the van full of police, just can't. And when I looked at them, they were like, it's almost like they were laughing at me, you know? They had this look on their face where it was like, yeah, there's another one. You know, you look like someone who, you know, might be selling drugs. Why? Right? So even though, you know, I have nothing on me, you know, your boy was a good boy, but it leaves an imprint. So fast forward to now, it's like every time I'm walking past police or police presence, there's this kind of like awkwardness that I have, you know? Like, oh, okay, let me not look. But then I'm thinking like, hey, man, these people, I'm paying for these people to protect me. Right? And again, it just leads to that whole feeling of feeling alienated. You know? So it's very important when your protectors treat you like you know, like nothing, like you're a criminal. You know what I mean? Let's go into the rest. This is the last one I'm gonna open. If you want open up the lines if you want to come on. Okay, so this is an arrest published in May 2022. The main facts: there were 646,000 arrests between April 2020 and March 2021, over 30,000 fewer than the previous year. Okay. Well, that was a pandemic year, so yeah. But let's go straight to the ethnicity. So this is England and Wales: arrests per 1,000 people by ethnicity. Asian groups, 11 people. Okay. White groups, 9 people. Mixed groups, 17 people. Black group, 29 people. Okay. Arrests per 1,000 people. And obviously it correlates with the stop and search. Now, I just want to say something. I'm going to put the link in the chat if anyone wants to add their piece to this topic. I've probably been a bit scatty with this live stream, but yeah, I'm just trying to chill out, to be honest with you. But I'm going to say this though as well, man, because this is another reason why you might want to leave. Because a lot of people are actually pro increasing the stop and search rates for black people. Right? And I believe some police like chief said that the high rates of stop and search is only doing a favor for black people in the UK, meaning that unfortunately black people are mostly targeted when it comes to crime by other black people, right? And so that's the unfortunate thing with regards to the high arrests, the high stop and search. It's like, if I was a parent, if I was if I wanted my kid to come home safe from school, I'm gonna be pro stop and search, like rags, like pro, yeah, stop. If he looks suspicious, stop and search, yeah, go for it, right? And it's messed up that is the case, because it's almost like we are applying our own alienation. And this is what I mean by the so-called culture being too far gone, right? And this is the mess that a lot of people that want to emigrate cite. It's like, it's just a mess. It can't be fixed. It's so ingrained into society that it can't be helped, right? So you might be Mr. Good Guy with your qualifications, you're doing well, you're going to be stopped and searched, or you're highly likely to be stopped and searched. And you know how embarrassing it is to be stopped and searched? Like, the way the police do it is like they display you to the public, so they like put your back against the wall, so we can all see you, and then they basically, what's the word I can use? They basically abuse you. They basically take your pockets, usually mercilessly, right? So it's a very degrading, very demeaning and degrading event that we have to kind of expect, pretty much, if we choose to live in this country, right? But I've probably been all over the place, man. This, again, the last call-in show from Falcon Blizzak. I want this to be like just a chilled hangout, but I think this is a very important topic to round off these streams. So look, if you want to jump on, the link's in the chat. If you want to say your piece, why black British people, black British men should emigrate, leave the UK. I want to ask you, as a kind of few questions for you to think about. Why should we leave? If you agree, how can we leave? Meaning the skill sets. Do we have the the economics to do that, and where should we move to? Where is quote unquote better, right? So some might cite issues in Africa. You know, I know a lot of us, we like to we like to stab, we like to throw stones at Nigeria with all of its issues. Then of course there's the problem of being another ethnic minority in another country, right? You might have the same stuff happening to you that's happening over here. You know, and are we doomed to feeling like second-class citizens wherever we go because of being, you know, not being the natives? So this is what's on the docket tonight. If you want to come on, got a few people in the back, but before that, let me just read out the super chats, man. I see some super chats coming. I really appreciate the support. Let me check through the super chats. 1 second, guys. I'm just gonna read through the super chats, and then we can get it cracking. So let me see. Okay, we got inflated ego. We got inflated ego again. Salute to you. He says Luxembourg is one of the richest country in the European Union. High cost of living, but salaries amongst highest tied with Switzerland. We still pay tax here. Good information, man. Good to know. What is the most spoken language in Luxembourg? Because I know they're in between like France, I think, and Germany, I think, or Belgium, is it? Right, but appreciate you. Salute for the €5 super chat. You've been coming through the stream. You've sponsored the stream, so I appreciate you. And also, again, we got our boy Ifechi Michael in the building. Salute to you, Ifechi Michael, with the £1 super chat. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the support and sponsorship. One more. We got Blaze in the building. Okay, 1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. Let me show respect. Wrong track. Salute to you, Blaze in the building, man, with a $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. You've been coming through lately, coming through to the streams. He says, salute at Falcon Blizzak. The way my banking account is set up. How do you mean, bro? How do you mean? But I appreciate you coming through, man, with the sponsor. I appreciate everyone in the building, man. Everyone showing love in one way or the other, man. So I really appreciate everyone. Okay. Appreciate you, Zach. Thanks for coming up. I'm gonna bring you up. So leave your avatar on. That's cool. Cool. So we got 4 people in the chat on the panel. Sorry. So let's go one by one. The first one was Shah25. Then we're gonna go to Diego Yefe. Then we're gonna go to Zach. To see how they feel. Shah25, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. I just want to say, that Black British people should not leave the UK. They should actually stay there and, have pride. It doesn't matter if they can't, afford or not, why migrate somewhere else, And the thing about it is that, ever since the whole Brexit situation that happened, that's when things started to go downhill in UK as a whole, in general. That's when every European nation turned on it. That's why you see war happening in Ukraine and Russia, because a lot of them can't deal with that. And the thing is, if Black British people went to another European country, most likely they'll survive because, the locals there have some knowledge of English or, should have some knowledge of English to an extent. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it shouldn't be a problem,
Mm-hmm. Are you still intent on moving to the UK?
Yes, I am. That's what I'm planning to do right now. I'm trying to come at least within the end of this year, and settle.
What are the 3 chief reasons for you doing that as a Canadian to come to live in the UK? Why would you do that?
Well, number one reason why is because it's been a long time since I've been there, and I just want to settle in back, And second, I have a British passport. Like I actually do have a British passport, and then third reason, I just want to be there with my family members there. One of them run a telecommunications company called Wiser. So like
Hmm.
I see that as a benefit, staying in, I just want to, go back there. And from what I heard, there's plenty of job opportunities for those that are complaining, that there isn't. There's way more job opportunities in the UK compared to Canada and Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No. That's my opinion, and to those that complain, they're just not trying, And one of the reasons
Uh-oh. What are you saying? What are you saying? People are not trying hard enough. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, and it's not just for black folks in the UK. It's for anyone that's not like giving in any effort or anything. So
Hmm.
yeah, like that's what I mean. And like for example, back in the day before Brexit even became a thing, you any if you're like a British citizen, you can travel anywhere in Europe. But like you can even travel to France, and and if they're local, and most of the French locals, they can speak English,
Hmm. Hmm.
so like it wouldn't be a problem, if you just went to France, and that's where the economy is, like that's where literally all the money funnels in and everything, and most
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, Shah. No, you started off with great points, so we're gonna come back onto those points in a bit. But I
Yeah.
appreciate you for your opener. So salute to Shah 25 in the building. Let me quickly just shout out my boy MJA 2873 came through with a super chat. These are the bootleg sound. I appreciate you, MJA, man. You've always been showing support over there in the States, man, with the $5 super chat. He says they speak German in Luxembourg as well as Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Austria. Yeah. But I hear that in some of those places, like I think Andorra is probably one of those countries. Like in the like Belgium, I guess they speak Flemish, but they also speak French and they also speak other languages. I've always been curious about that. But salute to MJA. He knows his stuff. Salute. And again, guys, man, if you can't hit the super chat, that's fine. But I would like you to hit the like button if you enjoy topics like these. Hit the like button, share the video if you can, do anything you can to support. It's not all about super chat, so it's all good. But okay, next in the building we had Diego If in the building, man. How you doing this evening?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Yeah, man, I can't complain, man. Can't complain. Good to hear. Good to hear. So, yeah, how do you feel? Should black British people leave the UK? Are some of the reasons that I put forth, were they strong enough for black people to want to move away? Like the justice system, feeling the weather, feeling like they don't belong. Are these strong enough reasons to move? In your opinion, what say you?
Okay, it's not entirely straightforward, and I think that it
Hmm.
really depends on the individual circumstances. I mean, before I even kind of elaborate, you made a good point earlier. When you raised the question, what is a black Brit? And I've said it several times on different streams that it's a post-colonial status. It's
Hmm.
literally a continuum of being a British, African, or African Caribbean colonial subject.
Hmm.
Um, if anyone reads the stuff that I've written and some of the other stuff that's already out there, they can, they'll make sense of it. I don't need to go into too much detail, but essentially what you have is you have a motley crew. If anybody knows what a motley crew is, it's basically a bunch of different people that are
Hmm.
like a set bunched together for one reason or another. So what you
Right.
have right now in the UK is you have a motley crew. The black so-called community is a motley crew.
Hmm.
People, obviously, like I said, they take a lot of their cues from popular culture. They predicate their identities on popular culture. But the reality is, whether people want to admit it or not, people already have preconceived ideas based on if you are from, this part of Africa, or that part of Africa, this Caribbean island, that Caribbean island, this ethnic group, that ethnic group. this language. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So if people truly believe in this collapsed blackness, they wouldn't place so much emphasis on difference. But by emphasizing the difference, they're only highlighting the point I'm making. We are different. Even when it comes down to Independence Days, some people have their independence. They'd be like, "Oh wait, you're independent? Okay, I didn't know that. You're indifferent. It doesn't mean it's of insignificance to you." So I think people are very dishonest about it. The fact that people have to, as you said, you made the point before about the decadence or the regression. How do I call it regression? The basic, like the culture, so to speak, becoming more debased.
Degrading.
Yeah. And look, a lot. I can't really identify. And let's keep it real. A lot of people, when they think of Black British culture, they think of grime music. They think of grime music. No, so I said grime. Sorry, let me correct myself. Drill music. They think of drill music. They think of Link Up TV, Channel U or Channel AK, depending on how old the person is. Stuff like
maybe
that.
track and field, maybe
Stuff like
athletics.
Exactly. It's a tenuous identity. And my issue with it is a lot of people are dishonest about it. So when they're dishonest about it, they now try to gaslight other people about
what are you saying they're dishonest about?
So my thing about being dishonest is I've had people who have told me, for example, that like I don't deserve to be alive because I come from a certain ethnic group. But then they want me to basically back it when it comes down to Black racism. They're the kind of people that believe that if I'm in Nigeria, for example, I should not have access to certain opportunities, but that in the UK, I should back it for them. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So here's the deal. I'm by myself. If I have any issues when it comes to racism, I'll deal with it myself. I ain't gonna come and disturb you. But you best as hell not come and disturb me. You're on your own, mate. You can't fit. Depending on the geography, you think you're in a position. So again, it speaks to the idea that this is just a mirage, it's bullshit. It's convenience at the end of the day. It's an accidental identity. In the quest for people looking for certainty, they look across the pond, they see a certain level of confident kind of expression, and they basically start taking their cues from there. And obviously globalization, commercialism or consumerism has been a key part of people taking on certain value systems. But the reality is, when I say dishonesty, it's like someone will say that, oh, you're disgusting because you come from this group, but Black men don't build. So it's like, Lord have mercy, are you kidding me? Am I in the Twilight Zone? Did you get what I'm saying? So for me, it's been a long journey making sense of this fuckeries, if that makes sense. But it's one thing is very discernibly clear, unequivocal. We're not the same as a group. Where we may converge and have friendly relations, work together, it won't be based solely on pigmentation. It simply isn't going to be. And so what I was saying about the dishonesty, part of dishonesty is people feel that an over familiarity superimposing themselves on you, whether that's online, and or whether that's in person.
Yeah, many of them online. That's for sure.
People feel that they are entitled to you. You are my birthright. You owe me your energy because we're Black in it. Yeah. So what it is that they speak of community in one sense, but then they speak of Blackness being a zero-sum game in another sense. So it's almost like my Black is better than your Black. And the reality is most Black people I've come across do have that mindset that my Blackness is better than your Blackness. So then there is no community, because there's clearly like some kind of vain competition where there's some kind of, I don't know, maybe some Black Olympics or something, where depending on whatever distance you can hit with your Blackness or your stereotyping, the more, shall I say, credible you are. So let's just take a wrecking ball to it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And I think when that happens, people now start asking themselves more of the right questions. You see my point? So this is the reason why there's not a panacea for telling people whether they should stay or whether they should not. Because the reality is, if, for example, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to leave, where to? Are you going to be transnational? Are you going to completely make a clean break for it? What are your reasons? Because, okay, for example, if we're just talking on a broader level in the UK, you have an aging population. So technically speaking, all the ethnic groups are literally going out of existence because they're not at replacement rate anymore, right? Of course, as you can imagine, even that being said, the population increase, which has obviously still happened anyway, has obviously put more of a strain. The population increases and the aging population has put more of a strain on medical services, right?
Yeah.
The educational quality is also diminishing, not just also based on people, children being exposed to things which are very X-rated compared to when I was growing up, but just the quality. Like, for example, lockdown was very revealing. You have people that were in year 6, that's 10, 11 years old, with a reading age of 6 in places in London. So this idea that London, again, is some kind of like, oh, you should feel so lucky that you're in London. No, there's a lot of poverty. And if it's not based, people are not literally eating out of like garbage cans or bins or whatever, right? They're already on the path to it. There's already certain things that are happening. If we talk about, for example, like depression and so on and so forth, how many people, I'm just keeping real, how many people's parents contribute to their children having that? That's not a question people want to have. People that have to go to certain churches, because there's a lot of churches, again, that do the whole simultaneous community but zero-sum game thing at the same time. You have people that find themselves lost in there. Their family go there, though, but there's certain things that are happening which is basically instilling and reinforcing that depression. You see my point? So I'm saying I can go on, but you get my point.
No, yeah. Great, strong opener from Diego as always, man. We're gonna revisit a lot of what you've mentioned in the next round. So salute to that. Let me quickly shout out MGA again. $2 super chat, man. Really appreciate your support, bro. I really do. He says a lot of Congolese people in Belgium. Oh yes, of course, Congo, right? That was the we all know what happened in Congo by Belgium. But yeah, salute. Hey, MJ, are you of Congolese descent? But I appreciate the super chat, man. Salute to MJA in the building, man. All you Americans in the building showing love as well. I appreciate all of you. You notice over here we don't do that us versus you type of thing, But salute, man. Both Shah25 and Diego raised great points, man. And I guess I want to jump straight into this before hitting direct points that you both made. Okay. We hear the pro-blacks talk all this blackety black. We must stick together because we're black. We must do this and that and black. But then, Diego rightly mentioned that we all have our own individual set of circumstances, and we aren't united simply because of our melanin content, right? That is not right. So, I mean, isn't a solution, in any of you guys' opinion, to just, I don't know, find a quote unquote British spouse and to live here and to procreate, create a mixed race family and to kind of fully conform to the British life, to the British culture? Can that be is that a good enough solution for brothers in particular?
The thing is, like, it depends, how well you know this female and stuff. Personally, I think that a lot of British black men, they don't really promote that interracial dating like people in America do. But the thing is, mainstream, like when you go on mainstream, news and stuff, like in America, like they promote it a lot at stores. When it comes to like advertising and stuff, they try to make it seem as if it's like normal. But in UK, not that much. It's just usually like white folks sticking with white folks, and then Asian folks sticking for Asian folks and things. And one guy was actually right. He said like a lot of Chinese and Indians, like whenever they come over to any place, they usually they don't even work jobs. They just start working in businesses, like they have a family member owning a gas station or some sort of retail store, and then they just start owning it, and then that's how they go from there. They don't actually have people telling them, what to do and stuff, and they have that, entrepreneur type of mindset. But like that's
Okay. I want to ask you this: since you're going to emigrate to the UK, I assume that you're going to be here for the foreseeable future, right? So you potentially might have a family here. Would that be correct?
Yeah,
So
technically.
in your mind, who would be your spouse, since you're coming to a country where, I mean, you're black, right? So black people make up like 3 to 4% of the population. In your mind, who's going to be your spouse to help you create that family? Is it going to be a white British person?
I don't know. I've never been in a relationship, myself, and I'm not an incel. I'm not one of those, guys that I like. To be honest, I don't know. Things have to turn the way it is. Like I never was the guy that had dates with women online or anything like that. And so like I might as well just have to like go and see for myself. It's been a lot changed since the pandemic. People now feel like since this like great recession is happening, people are now like so stuck and confused of where to go. Like in some places the house prices are going up, and then in some places it's very cheap. For example, if you go to Scotland, you notice that it's a lot more cheaper there and it's much more affordable homes. I might go to Scotland, if I come to UK, because technically Scotland is part of UK. So like I might stay there, since London, London is crowded and stuff, and I might find me a Scottish woman, because I do find.
But there's a trade-off with Scotland, and this is why I brought up weather, because Scotland is not known for having good weather.
Yeah,
it's always rainy, windy, cold.
I mean, I can adapt to that weather because I'm already in a cold climate, so I can adapt to that. And plus, like during the winter times, it's not as cold as Canada, but during summer times, it's not as hot either there too. So like, I mean, I can adapt to going there or Wales or somewhere, like where it's not as much,
but
it's cheaper.
I think a talking point that we mentioned as well on these streams is that you mentioned Wales, and there's some people that are they take umbrage to being having to be raised in Wales, because again, there's not a lot of black people in Wales, not a lot of black people in Scotland. So it's like, okay, you want to raise a family in these countries, but then they're gonna be you're gonna raise a family that might not be of the soundest mental health, because they look different from most people. They have different origins.
Right.
So how do you work around that?
Yeah, Falcon, I have a question. Have you ever actually been to Scotland or Wales before? I mean, you must have had once or something at one point.
I actually haven't been to Scotland, but I've been to Wales a few times. Why do you ask?
No, because like I've been to Swansea, I've been to like some places in Gaslow, and stuff. From what I heard, it's like not as bad there. Like in downtown Scotland, it's not as bad. Maybe they're more friendlier to blacks and other ethnic minorities. Whereas in London and England, you're just gonna. It's not bad at all. I think England is generally the hot spot, for anyone trying to emigrate. I'm looking forward to coming to UK soon, because I'm not gonna stay here anytime, because here it's already like in Canada, I'm telling you, all the what happened, like here, like it's very racist, and like most of it has to do with the NDP party leadership, and the lack of things. Justin Trudeau, like he's someone that's known to be a prime minister because of his dad, because he has some sort of nepotism or whatever you call that.
Okay, bro. Okay. Great points. Let me kind of pose the same kind of question to Diego, if he wants to answer this. Like, is it, like you said, we all have individual issues and, kind of journeys. So isn't marrying into the culture, like being knee deep into the British culture, a solution to some black people who are kind of struggling to feel like they belong in Britain?
If it's for that reason, I think it'll be impotent. I think it's inconsequential, because whether people want to admit it or not, most black people are actually more integrated, or should I say assimilated, than they
Mm.
like to admit. With Caribbean people, why I respect them is they're far more honest about it. They don't tend to, you get my point. They're content with embracing the fact that they are, in quote, British, English, whatever, and practicing long distance nationalism, which in the form of like carnival and various other kind of like maybe community events, especially if they're part of like Seventh-day Adventist Church or, certain community hubs that they have, depending on where you are in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But with a lot of Africans, and it goes back to the thing about the whole motley crew thing, a lot of Africans are not honest with themselves about how integrated they are. And the yardstick or the measure I use, you measure someone's diasporic consciousness. So in other words, how much are they connected to their parents' homeland? Do they own
Mm-hmm.
land? Is the land clearly identifiable? Is there a plan to cultivate the land, develop it? Do they send money back? You understand? Do they even pay attention to what's going on? Do you understand? Do they know what's going on in the economy? Do they know what's going on in politics, civic life,
Mm.
any insecurity issues? A lot of people are very distant from that. I'm talking about the British Africans now. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of them are far more versed in what's going on in the UK, like prevailing issues, with the whole, there's a swell of Braverman being in the media about this, basically, directing people back elsewhere who try to come to UK shores and stuff like that. They're far more engrossed in stuff like that. So whether they,
Mm-hmm.
people might put on kind of pseudo African accents. There might be some isms. They might eat some jollof rice, listen to Afrobeat. But when all is said and done, they are far more assimilated. The thing about assimilation is not just solely based on, okay, I'm a black man, I get with a white woman, ooh, assimilation, or I'm a black
Mm-hmm.
woman, I get with a white guy. No, even if you're a black person that gets with an Asian, you're a black person that gets with another black person, especially if it's another black person from a different ethnic group, as in
Mm-hmm.
like from like your home country or from a different country altogether. This is all assimilation because these are people that are having to, whether they want to admit or not, they've got different cultural reference points. So they're gonna have to focus on something that's like a mediator. And typically that is UK life. Do you understand?
Mm.
The whole emphasis on urban kind of like, using sort of having an identity based on urban living, the whole kind of inner city mindset. Let's not get it twisted. That's not as much of a thing as it was back in like the 80s and 90s, maybe part of the noughties. There are some people that want to be more road than anybody else, calm. But other than people doing kind of like, yeah, I'm not a dickhead in it, kind of virtue signaling, most people are pretty assimilated into everyday life. So yeah, there's times where people will get racism. They will experience it. But invariably, even in experiencing racism, a lot of the time it's an acknowledgement that you're assimilated and that because you might be a competitor for job opportunities, someone might look to see, okay, what advantage can I eke out? You're black, I'm not. I'm just using this as an example. So I would
Mm-hmm.
argue that it's not, most people on average recognize other black people as being part of the UK experience. It's just that what
Mm-hmm.
I think is that some black people think that, for example, assimilation or whatever means that every single industry, every institution you're going to go and you're going to get uniform experience that anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, racism is egregious, it's there, it's in your face, it's undeniable. Other times it's a gray area. It could be something else. So
Mm-hmm.
my thing is that there's no real way of contouring perfection when it comes down to it. You get my point? What do people want at the end of the day is the question, because is it Shah, raised the question of whether buying a house somewhere cheaper might make more sense. If you're
Mm-hmm.
working remotely, you obviously have more prospects, especially if you're confident based on what information you have at that point in time that you're going to have a constant flow of work. It might make sense to basically have live a distance away from, you get my point, because you're
Mm-hmm.
working remotely. But if you're not working remotely, you got to take into account, okay, even if I move to somewhere cheaper, will I be better off economically? Will my
Mm-hmm.
cost, not just my cost of living, be lower, but will my net, like your net pay, as in like what you have left over after all your bills are deducted, will it be more? And how safe is that industry? Because again, I spoke about the whole Motley Crue thing as being like, oh yeah, we're from these different countries and blah blah blah. That's one aspect of it, but industries, Black people are not all in one in different industries, and some people have more of a grip and understanding on the direction of that industry. Other people are literally just living to basically consume the next piece of popular culture. So you got people from different kind of mindsets, but essentially, I do not believe that pursuing getting with an inco white woman or white man or whatever is the yardstick of assimilation. No, I think it's one marker, I think it's one indicator, but I don't think it's a panacea, and I don't think it's anything conclusive as a basis of assimilation. So,
great point. Sound point from Diego. Let me quickly read out the super chats, man. I appreciate your support, guys. Michael Michok the fourth, as always, in the building with the 99-cent super sticker, man. Appreciate you. Salute to Michael Michok the fourth, man. One of the key moderators in the building. You know, again, all these dollars, man. I appreciate you, American guys, man, showing love in the chat. Salute to you, Michael Michok the fourth. Always holding down the streams down as well. So salute. Next up, we got Jimmy Sonato in the building. Salute to you, Jimmy Sonato in the Jimmy Sonato. Okay, he says, "Hey Falcon, would love to jump on and give my vanilla face 2 cents." Okay, so guys, this is a white brother now, and I know we're talking about Black British people living in the UK, but I mean, just to spice it up, it is the last calling show. It'll be nice to hear what Jimmy has to say. You know, he's going to have a different perspective. You know, so let's say I believe he has a thing for the sisters. You know, so he does have you know, some credence, some qualifications. But one sec, Jimmy. Salute to you. I appreciate you for dropping the 2 cent, for dropping the £5 super chat. I appreciate that. 1 second. So okay. I want to go back to what Shah25 said in his opener. He said that there is plenty of opportunity in the UK. You know, there's nothing really wrong with the job market, and in some sense, he might be suggesting that the Black British people are just lazy and are basically not pulling themselves up by the bootstraps. And I just want to go around the panel and see if you agree. What I'm basically asking is, do you think that people have a tendency to complain? You know, people in the West in general have a tendency to complain when they really actually have it quite good, right? And I try to list out the positive stats that we seem to be leading in. So like having a voice in your community, for example, enrollment and placements into university. Are Black British people who complain about the UK, are they just lazy people who might not have, I don't know, the skill set, might not have the aptitude or the the motivation to acquire certain skill sets here and to to make moves? So are Black British people lazy?
The answer to that is I'm not going to say no, because there are some, fine Caribbean, and African restaurants in UK, and and I'm going to say this: a lot of Caribbeans and subcontinental Africans, they're more hardworking than African Americans, aka Black Americans, and it's a known fact. A lot of I've faced a lot of bullies from that are Black Americans. Most of them, they just want to speak Ebonics, and they like to sag their pants, get all tatted up and brag about, like, if they get rich, all they do is buy a lot of stuff that they don't even need, and that's one thing I have to say about a lot of the NFL and NBA athletes. Like, you see what's happening to Andrew Tate. I know Andrew Tate is not a Black man. He's quote unquote biracial. I've seen his father. His father is like Black, and his mom's white, but he looks more of a quadroon, or like white. He looks more white. No one can, if someone met him, they wouldn't assume he's mixed. He looks white, just like Michael Jackson's kids. But the point is, the thing is, if you're a rich person, you're going to be a bigger target to folks that are in need of money and stuff. So that's one thing I have to put it out for y'all. Yeah. And I'm just a regular average dude. I worked regular jobs. I used to work at Walmart. I used to do a lot of these basic jobs. I don't claim to be some sort of boss. I don't claim to be some sort of CEO of a company. I just do things that other normal people do. And I just go on and to say the least, I think that before the Brexit situation, if you were black or anyone of any descent, you could have just traveled to any other countries in Europe, and there wouldn't be a whole a war between Ukraine and Russia, And I think that I say that because a lot of it has to do with the fact that Putin is the one that's declaring this, because he's probably upset.
Okay, brother. We're kind of veering off a little bit from the original question, but hey, good points.
Yeah.
I mean, good points. People like to say, "Oh, you're going there," but no, you raised some good points, man. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anyone else wants to jump on that? Are we lazy for complaining that things aren't working in the UK?
I wouldn't call it laziness per se, to be honest. I don't think it's a straightforward thing. I've tried to, make it as straightforward as possible, because it's not. It's grey as hell. But direction counts for a lot, to be honest, because depending on what background you come from, there's going to be certain ideas that are self-limiting. Like, if we're talking about in the black sense, how many people can honestly say that their parents have tilted them towards, and I'm not talking about doctor and lawyer, I'm talking about, a bit more perceptiveness than that, tilting them to fields that are more lucrative, that their parents have actually, looked into or even encouraged them. You understand? So there's that. So the lack of direction. There's a lot of so-called Black British people that have just lacked certain direction, and even when they for a moment considered certain opportunities, they've been, they don't have the mentally, they're already defeated. You understand? It takes a great deal to make that paradigm shift when it's just not being a part of your reality. I'd say as well that some people just don't know certain things. It may not even be necessarily a confidence issue, but they just don't know. And people can say, yeah, there's the internet, it's an abundant resource, there's this, there's that, there's that, there's this. But nevertheless, if you don't know what direction to go in, you get my point? It just doesn't occur to you. So I think that there's just not really an awareness of what opportunities there are in the economy. But I would even say as well that, and I've spoken before on previous streams, the economy in this country is not all that. It's not an industrious country. Going back generations, it's become less and less and less and less in the name of preserving the kind of class kind of structure. There's been a lack of willingness to be involved in more opportunities. There's just been successive deindustrialization, and right now the government don't have an economic plan. I think I read a report that the politicians and the policymakers are the worst quality in living memory. The likes of not to digress, but Rishi Sunak, for example, would by all measures be the equivalent of a junior minister. That's his exposure to politics. He's not, do you understand? He's not really a credible fit for the role, but such is the degradation of institutions and British life. You have someone like him, take out ethnicity, literally just based on credentials. Really and truly, he ain't fit for purpose. And you compare him to, I know the world is a different place, but you compare him to his predecessors, he ain't fit to hold a light to them in many ways. So I think that pretty much tends to sum up the opportunities here. So someone like myself, because of the nature of what I've studied, the nature of the work I've done, I have the advantage when I can see these things. You understand? But a lot of people don't know. You can't implement or act on what you don't know. This is the reality, and more crucially, what you may not want to know. Do you see my point? So for instance, some people might be listening to this stream now They might go to other streams. They may hear maybe, okay, this opportunity might be bound in such and such place. They won't go there. And ultimately, that's their right to do that. But then, should they complain later on, then that's another thing. So put it like this. I could go on, I could take this in different directions, but effectively what I'm saying is, one, it's an awareness issue, and two, comfort zone. Do you understand? And the reality is, I don't think you can call someone strictly lazy because they are reluctant to come out of their comfort zone, because they might be content with working service-based jobs, hospitality, leisure. They might really, within the confines of the hours they work, they may go really hard, but for some reason they got a mental block.
But okay, I hear that.
Transcend.
I hear that, bro. But isn't that not
Yeah.
the individual's responsibility to find a way to get out of maybe that manual service, that manual labor job, to seek out an easier life, a more fruitful life? Isn't that there at some point? Does it not fall on us to find out what that is for us?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. The reality is, in the short answer, the short answer to it is yes. We should individually be doing that, but it's easier said than done. That's like the ideal. Some people they just don't know, so they don't know any different. And so, in the absence of not knowing what direction to tilt towards, right? Certain people will use popular culture. I hate to say it, popular culture. I'm talking about consumerism. Oh, you get this car, emulate this lifestyle you're seeing, and if you can't, the next best thing is to hate and sabotage somebody that you think is doing better than you, right? So and the reality is, if you take blackness out of it, it's not just, you ain't just got black losers, you got white losers as well. You got, okay, I hate to say this, but in terms of, you look at the UK, I hate to say this, but there's more losers than there are winners. And I'm talking about mindset. I ain't talking about material milestones or anything like that. Mindset counts for a lot. So if you're going to have losers en masse, there's going to be black losers within that. So you got just a perspective, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, great points. I'm gonna come to Jimmy, but yeah, I want to answer this question because some people come late, didn't hear the opener. But yeah, this is the last call-in show. I've given my reasons in the Discord. I'll give my reasons at the beginning of this show. So yeah, you have to just rewatch that. But yeah, this is the last call-in show. So if you want to get anything off your chest, this is the show to do it. Jump on, the link's pinned to the top. It's in the description. Yeah, so that's what it is. But okay, let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, in your opinion, do you think that the people complaining about the West or the UK, that there is no opportunities and there must be some somewhere else must be better or better suited to them, do you think this is based off of laziness or a lack of appreciation for what they have?
Hello, guys.
Salute. Hey.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. It's like, if you've never been outside of the UK, it's hard for you to tell, right? Because your only point of reference is England, right? So, I mean, the UK is still one of the G7. It's one of the richest countries in the world. It's not the best out of them. Like, admittedly, average incomes are much better, say, even now. Even in, like, if you're a working class person, even Poland now is better than England.
In terms of what?
Class person,
working class person.
Yeah, countries that traditionally you wouldn't think, like, because we're still stuck in this kind of old idea of, oh, Britain is this great old empire, all this nostalgia shit. But if you look at actually the numbers, even like living in Poland, some like these Eastern European countries, you have a better quality of life. The Netherlands, for sure. Yeah, Luxembourg, Belgium, any Scandinavian country. I don't know. I'm Italian, I'm from the north of Italy, and I know I haven't been back for like 3 years, and I haven't been properly back for 20 years.
Hey, so are you saying that you prefer the UK over Italy?
I'm not saying that I fucking hate both.
What, you hate both?
No, I mean I like, but it's like we all find reasons to complain about,
Right.
and it's only until you've been somewhere else for some time that then you realize what what actually was good about the place that you left.
Mm.
Does that make sense? So, for example, if like I imagine, I've obviously I'm not black, so but if you're a black person and you go to America, if you go to a place like Atlanta, your level of racism that you might experience might be lower than if you go to Kentucky or some place in the north, possibly. I don't know. Also, I know that like I've listened to stories from black women who go to Nigeria because they want to see their relatives or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they complain about just simple things like getting money out of the ATM, uh, public services, this kind of thing is very, very frustrating for them.
Right.
It's not
Okay.
necessarily going to be easier on that level, but
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah, you spoke about Japan. I lived in Japan for 6 months.
Okay.
I was with a Filipino woman, like a MILF, who ran a strip club in Kabukicho,
A MILF.
and a lot of her friends were Nigerian. So I met with a lot of these Nigerian, some of them questionable characters, but that's how they make their money. But
So
they're all
what,
nice. They all live a good life in Tokyo. They make
since
money.
I reference Japan because I get some guys that want to say, "Oh, Japan is the place to be." I mean, in your opinion,
Yeah.
was Japan a good place to be to live?
All right. So, like, I'm like a 6'2" white guy. I'm good looking. So my experience was that I go in, I got some money.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's difficult. It's very difficult because I don't speak the language. You stand out, and it's just challenging. But in generally, Japanese people are super friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of black people who live there. There's a large Nigerian community. I know a lot of Nigerian people. I have Nigerian friends who live in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
They run businesses. I know a bar guy. We used to do crazy stuff together, like debauchery and so on. But
Okay.
you
Yeah.
can live
I
around
mean,
there. But yeah, like 99% of expats who go to Japan return within 1 year, whether it's
okay.
black, white, whatever.
Okay, great point, because I mean that was good intel for those that want to prioritize Japan. Okay, so appreciate you, Jimmy. You've led me into another question that I need to ask the panel as well. But before that, let me shout out MJA again with another super chat. Man, you're balling tonight, man. What is it? You been paid? Is it? It's not the end of the month though. So, but MJA man, 28.73. I appreciate the $5 super chat. He says Finland is supposedly the most advanced country in Europe. They have the best healthcare and education, low crime rate, as well as low unemployment. Yeah, that seems to be a standard for the Nordic countries, right? Yeah, I mean, happy. They usually score high in the happy index, So yeah, the Nordic countries definitely up there. But again, I guess the weather, the snow, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of darkness in the winter. Vitamin D exposure, is it there? But salute to MJA with supporting the stream. I appreciate that. Salute to MJA. Okay, so on the panel, again, guys, if anyone wants to join this last stream, hit the link. It's pinned to the top or in the description. But okay, so, I want to ask the panel, if not London, okay, I'm going to use the capital because that's pretty much all I know, okay? If not London, then where? Because I know some of us are saying that London is going downhill. Our politics right now are in shambles, economics. in shambles, the infrastructure congested. But if not London, then where in the world is best for a Black British person? You know, and I wanted to do a stream back in the day trying to compare America with UK, because I hear a lot of Black Brits saying that they might think of emigrating to America, but then, you know, we want to kind of detail kind of what Jimmy brought up with the, you know, kind of compare racism, for example, if we can, or, you know, crime, etc. But some people cite America. I've got a cousin who's gone to Delaware, right? He's got a nice family over there, British Nigerian with American Nigerian, right? So if not London, where should the Black British immigrate to if you believe that they should leave the UK, or just to kind of you know, where is good?
Sorry to interrupt. I think they should actually, like, you know, stay there, you know, because I'm being honest with you.
Are you saying you think the Black British should stay in the UK? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a tremendous country. You know, most of the white British people are actually more friendlier than Americans are. You know, Americans are rude. I'll say that from my experience. They'll be rude to even their own people. You know, so stay in the UK. You know, do that. You know, and what O'Shea Duke Jackson did was actually a smart thing. You know, he was a Black American brother, and then he moved to Poland because, you know, he wanted to stay there for a better life, and he wanted to, and he was actually successful. Now he owns Kanganda, he owns a couple of radio stations, and, you know, a couple of broadcasting companies, and look how successful he is. And look at this one of my buddies that I did live stream with, he's a Black American. He told me he wants to come to the UK as well. So like, so yeah, and I don't know what AO is talking about. British, maybe he, from his experience, they're rude, but like, you know, generally speaking, they have like more manners than Americans. That's just a stereotype, you know. Like a lot of if you go to America and you go to certain places, they'll just, you know, treat you like they're, you know, I've been to Chicago, I've been to Detroit, I've been to those areas like not too long ago, and I'll say this, you know, from my experience going there, like, you know, it's not any different. You know, you see the same stereotype and the same like there, and it's actually much more, you know, cleaner in the UK in terms of like hygiene and stuff. You don't see a lot of Black men, you know, acting like complete stereotypes that you see in California, you know,
you know, just to underpin that, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, you know, when people ask the question, is UK racist, and, you know, they mean racist, I think, in most cases on a general level, right? The people, right? But yeah, I would say that in general, like, I think people in England, UK, have good common sense in general. You know, they have you know, good manners in general. Like, you know, I think in general British people are quote unquote decent people. You know, that's why I'm always hard pressed to just straight up say, yeah, England is racist, when I've traveled to other parts of Europe and I see how it is. I see how people get away with doing crude things over there. You know, so yeah, I think I have a favorable view of British citizens in general, to be honest. What is like, if not London, you know, England, where else? Where else can we go?
For me, honestly, I would say end goal. I think, is the most important thing, because you can look at it in different ways. Like, if for example, I considered I want to do the whole transnationalist thing with a view to, you know, eventually probably spending more time elsewhere. So at the moment, I'm looking at South Africa, maybe Caribbean island, but certainly South Africa, and I'm possibly looking at East Africa as well. I think there's got to be different ways of doing this. I think that, you know, there was a stream we did some months back where I spoke about wanting to set up like a diaspora bank to facilitate the ease of, you know, moving money across borders, and, you know, lending money to people to be able to build property and invest in business and what have you. Obviously, I know that right now it's not easy because of like volatile economies, but essentially, I think people need to consider maybe pooling together funds or building a diaspora. Certain, for example, I know that O'Shea Duke Jackson has this Kenganda project going on. There's opportunities. There's opportunities to develop land in places like East Pram in Ghana. We've got a contact there, and also in Zanzibar and Tanzania as well. So it could be a thing whereby some Black British guys decide they set some parameters so that they're confident, they trust each other. They might build some, holiday kind of like apartments for Airbnb. They may now, keep a few for themselves, rent out the rest, work remotely and live off part of the income from the Airbnb. I'm just saying that there's going to have to be different ways of doing it if they do want to leave. I don't think the UK is the worst place.
Is it just me or is Diego Morgan a little bit?
Wait, am I still Borgin?
No, you're good now. Okay,
my bad. Did you miss anything I said?
Press a 1 in the chat if Diego's Borgin. It might be me because I haven't connected my my router. Can anyone hear me? I think you're good now, Diego. If you can hear me.
I'm good, yeah. Okay.
No problem, yeah, they're saying you'll sound fine, so it's probably my problems. Apologies.
Okay. Can you still hear me, bro? Hello? Can everyone hear me? Yeah,
I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so to be honest, I would say it really depends on if people want an experience outside of the UK, if they are thinking more longer term, if like family, like in terms of creating a family comes into the equation. There's different things, but if you are UK based, I think one should look at, do a deep dive into opportunities in this country, see what they think is the best opportunities available, try to tap up those opportunities, and then also look to build elsewhere. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to leave somewhere else, it's almost like it's like you almost have to spread your risk, right? So if you're able to get something here whilst trying to build that, you might have to approach it like a 10, 15, 20-year plan. But I mean, yeah, there's definitely things to consider. Someone said something about the US, but the US is like a collection of different countries, isn't it? So some cities make more sense than others. Someone might go to Montana, for example. It seems like an obscure place to me. They might get themselves like a nice place, nice house, cheap. They can live very well, stack some money. They have open air spaces and greenery. And that person's going to have a very different experience to someone trying to go to Atlanta and maybe eke out a living in Buckhead, for example. So one thing's for certain, people are going to have to get out of their comfort zone. They're going to have to be willing to embrace the risk of relative failure. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. And that's what it comes down to, man.
Do you reckon the pound is in a strong enough position to kind of, mobilize to America?
So
right now,
this is the thing. At this point in time, at least in living memory, the pound has never been as low to the dollar as it is right now. It's not even far off par, to be honest. And a key part of that, of course, is that the UK has lost its edge in terms of being, having the comparative advantage for financial services. Brexit means that there's a lot of capital. Like one of the last jobs I worked in, an investment bank, they were, once Brexit got pushed through, they were already offshoring offices. So there was a trading desk, global finance trading desk. I remember walking through the next day and there was desks, places had been cleared off basically. So people that were working in those desks were being pushed to Frankfurt, Paris, and Madrid. You understand? Capital, because of what's happening with Brexit, UK, or should I say EU companies, are not going to be able to access capital, and vice versa. There's going to be restrictions with moving money around. So that is also affecting dollar pound convertibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't think of it. If we're talking about exploiting any, arbitrage or any gaps, there's nothing to exploit there, to be honest. It's going to literally be a case of identifying an opportunity there and going there.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like this. I do think there are definitely some opportunities in America, but one has to take their mind off the whole idea of brand USA. See, America's done a great job of exploring its culture and sensitizing different groups of people around the world to obviously an American outlook on life. But there's a distinct difference. I've got family in America. I know many Americans. There's a distinct difference, even the ones that are doing well for themselves. There's a distinct difference between their lived experiences and a lot of what's pumped out on TV. So,
I mean, the risk, and this is to you and also Shah25 if you want to chime in. Like, do you not think, I mean, I guess this is just, off the tongue. If you think that there are more risks in the USA over the UK, and I guess when it comes to risk, I'm thinking of like natural disasters. I'm thinking of, I guess, gun crime, probably even terrorism, right? America being a target. Like, do you think in any way or form there are more risks stateside over the UK?
No, actually, I think it's actually far more safer than it is in America. And for all you folks be like, there's crime in UK. Of course, there's crime everywhere you go. That's how things are supposed to be, unfortunately. But what I'm trying to say is that, in America, like it's all just corruption and stuff, and like and it's not necessarily has to do with the fact about how the dynamism of the economy works. It works differently for each individual. For example, it depends on the citizenship, and stuff. Like, for example, if an American tries to go to the UK, they're gonna have a hard time going there because they never experienced or anything. If a British person tries to go to UK, and if they're wealthy, they might survive going to America. But if they don't,
what do you mean? What do you mean by never experience anything? If the American comes to the UK,
like an American, if you're an American and you want to go to the UK, you got to be super rich. You got to be having over at least maybe $30,000, and that's like not in pounds, just to survive in an apartment or like something like that, that in America. But the average African American household income is 48,000 from what I heard. I'm not it might be 50,000 or 60,000. It might vary, but yeah, I don't get what is happening, because a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of what's happening in America is not over the fact of corruption. It's just the fact that Americans will do anything for news and media and stuff, and that's sad. Not a lot of people understand, because that's why a lot of people are now leaving facing problems in America, especially in certain places and states, and it all has to do over the fact that many of them don't actually rely on jobs. They actually have more welfare, food stamps and stuff. They have more access to things than British people, yet they misuse it, and then they complain. And I blame a lot of these famous celebrities. A lot of them, they don't invest in their community. They're just tokenized as some sort of figures that people see on social media to portray a lifestyle that they don't live in. That's something that you have to take in consideration. For example, Yeah, for example, like if someone like me that's from Canada goes to UK, like I immediately have to start working there, and I immediately have to start renewing my password. I immediately have to do a lot of things just to like settle, because I have experience living there, but it was just when I was like very young, like a toddler. Like that's the only memory I have, like staying there. But like yeah, for me settling back there is no problem. It's just that
Mhm.
like people need to be more aware. And as far
Okay,
as
okay. Great points. One sec. I need to just break it down. One sec. Let me just read out the super chat, but good points from Shaw25. This one coming from Blaze with the big man $20. Salute to you, Blaze, man. I really appreciate your support. Like, really, truly, man. He says, a token of my gratitude. I hope you reconsider live streams after some time away. Olga at Falcon Blizzak. PS, I can't take this Canuck seriously. Is that a term for Canadian? Canuck. What's wrong with the Canuck, man? Shaw's got bars, man. But I appreciate that, Blaze, with the $20, man. Will I reconsider the live streams? Again, just for those that missed it at the beginning, the thing about live streaming, again, for a small channel, it's good for the current engagement of subscribers, and that is good. But I see live streaming as something that is, if you want to be a content creator, it's something that is a special occasion, right? It's done for a reason. You know what I mean? So, it takes a lot of time, right? Right now, I could be doing something really special in the bedroom right now, but I can't do it. And my sleeping pattern as well. And, I run into some weirdos here and there that just like, it causes more problems than benefits, you know what I mean? Like the time exchange, do you know what I mean? But, I want to kind of focus a bit more on the pre-records and to give you actually more meaningful, kind of deeper content, just like I used to. You know what I mean? Yeah, like Jessica X says, live streams don't get you there and they're time consuming. Yeah, literally, when I look at the analytics, literally no new subscribers in these live streams. Literally. All new subscribers are coming from normal videos and shorts. And obviously, as a small channel, there should be an emphasis on growth, right? Because you want to interact with more people in the chat. We got, more comments, more a bigger community, right? So yeah, that's pretty much my reason. It's not a great strategy. And last year when I wanted to go live streams, it was more for it's more because I just lost hope in seeing this channel grow, right? So I just thought, yeah, let me make this a grimy live stream channel. I'll focus on my other channels. But I'm the type of person that needs to progress. I need to improve things. I can't be at mediocre levels for too long. So that's pretty much the reason. But salute to you, Blaze. I appreciate your support, man, and good to see you in the building, bro. Good to see you. Shaw made me think of something, man. I guess I want to ask you, Diego. Like, do you think that the NHS in the UK, the apparent free health service, is a benefit to British citizens?
So the first thing that comes to mind, which I should clarify, the NHS ain't free. It never has been free. It's free at point of delivery, but we all pay for it. National insurance contributions. And then also there's the indirect taxation. So obviously you've got your NI contributions. Like Americans, obviously equivalent would be Social Security. Then a portion of the taxes that we pay, whether that's value added tax or income tax or wherever else, now gets added to supplement it, for the annual budget. It's weird because they talk about cutting the service, but if you look at the budgets for the NHS, they're not actually going down. I would say that when it works well, and when it doesn't work, it doesn't work well. So I, honestly speaking, it's I think it's in the middle. I think it's in the middle. People have this idea that it's got worse. I suppose you can argue it has, but if we're talking about medical negligence, there's always been cases of that. If we're talking about, especially maybe in the case of black females who have been, I've reported many instances of, their pain thresholds being, overestimated, stuff like that. That's long standing. So you got black women that are like much older women to like maybe young girls that can relate. That hasn't changed. So I think different people's experiences are relative. Like mine, I can say now from when I was a child to now, I haven't seen a significant difference. Do you understand? If I'm being absolutely honest, I can't say that I've had a markedly worse experience 2 years back. But someone else might say it. Again, do these other people have serious health conditions, for example? Because there's different factors. I would say if people think it's bad now, I think over the next couple of decades it's going to get worse. Other things equal. Just because, like I said it earlier in the call, you have an aging population. And when you have an aging population, there's going to be more of a burden on, healthcare demand. It's going to increase. That might be part of the reason why they're trying to, in quote, increasingly privatize aspects. But if they're going to privatize it, they may have to look at, modifying how they do NI, because I don't really see why people should be paying NI and then you're paying extra costs for medical care based on the idea you're getting it for free when you're not getting it for free. So I just think that on a wider level, people need to really know what they're paying for, so that they don't just be like blind sheep to the slaughter, complaining about how terrible the situation is. Like, what makes it terrible? And if it's terrible, what can we do about, making it more fair? So I think people's ignorance when it comes down to this whole NHS discourse, it can be weaponized against them, and a lot of people choose to be ignorant. So I think some people like complaining. There are definitely going to be things to complain about, but some people just love it.
Right. Yeah. I heard that. Let me salute Michael Meach with the 4th again with the 99-cent super sticker, man. I really appreciate that. God damn, my crusty songs. Salute to you, Michael Meachrock, the 4th, man. Again, man, I never put a figure on the super chats, but I appreciate everyone because it's a token gesture. Do you know what I mean? It's a token gesture of support. So appreciate you, Michael Meachrock, the 4th. Good to have you in the building.
Yeah, Falcon, it's always interesting. I always wanted to hear what Michael Mutrick's perspective is, even though, like, he donates a lot. I think he's a very great man, but, what I'm trying to say is that, like, a lot of people need to start, understanding, each situation and not, like, take what someone says for granted, because I know for a fact that, like, a lot of people, they cannot, strive, being, in America, especially if they come as a foreigner, because that's where a lot of corruption is. And a lot of Americans, they rely on the Chinese, for something. And that's why you see a lot of Chinese spy balloons and a lot of...
Okay, bro. I wanted to ask you, though, what is the health service like in Canada? When you need to go to the doctor, what do you have to do?
Here, the health service ain't bad. I mean, it's free and everything, but, like, sometimes, there's a lot of, like, for South Asian, like, doctors, and a lot of, like, Indians, and there's nothing wrong with them. To be honest, I think they're actually far more, like, smart in terms of, like, medicine and stuff. It's just the language barrier. Like, not a lot of people are used to having Indians and a lot of Chinese, like, take over their jobs and stuff like that. I know that, and it seems like that too. Like, it seems like anywhere Indians go, they seem to dominate everyone, including white folks. The Indians dominate white folks in terms of wealth and stuff like that. I know that for a fact because that's how it is in where I live. Like,
bro, can I ask you a question? I've always wanted to ask you, and don't take this the wrong way, okay? It's just that your appearance makes me ask: Are you like part Asian?
No. I mean, I have some Trinidadian and some stuff like that, but I wouldn't consider myself to be. So
your parents don't speak an Asian language at all?
No, like sometimes they speak some, like, pidgin, sometimes, like, something, but
pidgin what?
like, sometimes they speak certain things, like, like certain, phonics that, we won't understand. So, like, some, like, similar to how Papua New Guineans speak, and,
Okay.
and stuff. So, like, and things, and the
Okay.
truth of the
Okay.
matter
I was
is,
just curious.
no, and I have like some family members that are married to Sri Lankans, and and I've been to, some that, and like I said, some Trinidadians, they have, like, Indian in them. They have some sort of admixture. Like, I know that for a fact. Like, they have some of it due to things like, that guy Jesse McQuilkin. He said he's Trinidadian.
Okay. Okay.
I know
We can't talk about people who are not on the panel, bro.
Yeah.
But okay. I appreciate it. Good points on the Canadian health service. But I want to kind of move on.
Yeah,
because let's go to some reasons as to why people might want to leave the UK. Okay, I'm only muting you, SHA-25, because there is that sound in the background that you can't hear, but I think we can all hear it. But I want to ask the panel, man, and anyone who wants to jump on, anyone in the chat, is feminism a good reason, or a sound reason to leave the UK? Because we hear this a lot, especially with the passport bros, that these modern women, they're feminists, and therefore I guess they have negatively affected their dating or opportunities to form a family here in the UK. Do we think that feminism is probably a key reason why one should move out of the UK or even Canada?
Okay, so just so I understand this, is this in search of a better lifestyle in general? Is it in search of better opportunities with women? Is it a woman factor?
That is the question that we need to unravel. Because look, I'll
Yeah.
keep it real. In my opinion, from what I've heard from the past bros, and it's not about, I'm not trying to shit on the passport bros, man, but it's more that from what I hear and from what I sense, man, I feel like it's just frustration to some degree, like frustration with for some reason not being able to connect with the women in this country, right? And so for a lot of guys, they say that they'll just find better opportunities with women elsewhere. But I don't think that's a strong enough reason to emigrate, in my humble opinion, because it's like you still have to develop your interpersonal skills. You still have to be an interesting person. You still have to have a certain level of attractiveness to the opposite sex, right? But
honestly speaking, I would say it comes down to a matter of conviction, man. I mean, it really depends on God. Like, okay, I tend to find, on a personal level, that there's a certain group of women that are the most vociferous feminists out of every other group. So I don't tend to. Some women just have a couple of talking points, but man, when it comes down to it, they'll cook and clean for you. They'll be pretty like agreeable, like. But they'll talk a good game. But, and I hate to say it, bro, there's one demographic. There's one.
Let's go there. Since the last stream, let's go there.
All right, cool. Nigerian Brit girls are the most vociferous feminists, and then the ones that hang around them, who are maybe other African girls, other Caribbean girls, they become de facto. Do you understand? They take on their own talking points and worldviews. So, put it like this: your most staunch vociferous feminists in America and your Nigerian Brit ones sound exactly the same. The kind of like venom, the vroom, that they sound identical. And I think that's because obviously white liberals very much put, like, they done a number on black female Americans, and then both groups done a number on the black British Nigerian girls. And so they're the ones that tend to talk that the most. But even they aren't necessarily feminists for everyone. They're not feminists for white men in a lot of cases, and they're not feminists for men that grew up in Nigeria, for example, who they consider to be superior in many cases to the ones that grew up here. So my thing is, I don't think the feminist thing is across the board. If you're, for example, a black guy that likes, women who are pretty agreeable, who are packing like, like they're stacked. I keep it real, man. You go to like all these like Northampton and like places like that. There's some Zim things. You go to places like Peterborough, Coventry, Warwickshire. There's there's women in this country. Let me not lie to you. It just depends on where you go to. So, like I tend to find that, there's guys that punch above their weight the further north they go. I mean, I'm not saying going to like the top of the country. I ain't saying no Northumbria or Cleveland or anything. I'm just talking like, a bit further like north of London. Yeah, the opportunities open up. And the saying, that kind of virulent feminism, if you will, is just not as deep over there. Do you understand? Like in my experience, it tends to be, I'm going to keep it real, it tends to be confined, like I said, to that certain demographic, mostly within East and South London.
Okay,
so
man. Great
I'd
points.
make of that what you will. But I'd say for black British guys that want to get privilege, in my opinion, when it comes down to maybe lifestyle and girl, I think South Africa is probably, based on when I went there for work. Yeah, okay. I'd say South Africa, but yeah, man.
Okay, what does everyone else think? Like, is the UK or the West in general is moving away from these regions because of feminism? Is that a sound reason to emigrate?
Let me say
I would say it's not a reason to emigrate if it's feminism, only if you know you're not going to have a family and have kids and all that stuff. So that's the only time I would say, don't. Because, and in general, based on this topic, first of all, thanks for having me up and all that.
Yeah,
and,
no problem.
And yeah, based on this whole topic, I don't think black people should leave the UK at all.
Why not?
Because you guys have been there for so long. You guys have fought for, whatever rights y'all got right now. Because I do believe that, it hasn't always been that easy with, black people being accepted in the UK, and this goes all the way back to the, I guess, 70s or something, right? So, yeah, so you guys have fought for your rights. You've been there several generations. I mean, I get it if you want to go back to Africa because it's a huge African, population there and stuff, second, third, fourth generation. But it's like you're still going to somewhat feel like an outcast if you're over there just because you never grew up there. And the thing is that Africans have no problem showing you that you're not from there. Like, you don't know how we get down over here. You understand me? You are over there. You're Oibo. You understand me? You don't know this. We do things different. They always want to, put that separation when it comes down to it,
You know what? It's funny because what I realize is that like the people who are born in Africa who are over here in the UK, they will speak to people who are born here like, oh no, you are Nigerian, you are one of us, you are one of us. But then when you actually go over there, it's like you can sense the passive kind of aggression. Like, you English boy, don't you know how to do this? Don't you know how to eat? Don't you know how to cook? How can you not know how to do? Like it's like nah, these guys probably don't have.
You don't eat real food, and you're too soft, and you can't take the sun, and all of that shit. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you hear the sneak disses coming.
Always.
You know what I mean?
Always.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a great point, man. Anyone else wants to chime in on that?
If I can, just because
sure.
It is so wow. Like,
sorry, 1 sec. Shaw, yeah. You can come in next, yeah, because you can come in next, okay, Shaw.
Yeah, I can relate to
room.
that. I can relate to that big time because obviously I tried to do my e-commerce business in Nigeria from 2016 to 2019, And even like I told you, buying a place that was abortive in the end. And typically speaking, obviously there's almost like they obviously treat how do I put this? They treat white people the best. That's whether Brit, American, even
point
Eastern
blank
Europeans.
period.
Yeah. then they treat like Indians and those kind of people, Pakistan, Bangladesh. They treat them better. Lebanese, yeah. And then they treat like East, like like Somali people that are doing business there, Eritrean, Ethiopian, like the guy Nasco, the Nasco guy. Like they will facilitate business, and if you look discernibly, in quote, you look ambiguous, you get treated better. The moment you now look exactly like them, and for some reason they really hate the British accent. If you're a woman, women with like the UK accent, like when I say UK, I'm talking about London, one form of London accent or another, they treat them better than the men. Because the men want to basically get a notch on their bedpost or something like, you understand? It's like a challenge for them. And then the women treat them better because they see it's almost like a frenemy kind of thing. You understand? It's almost like they don't like them, but it's like an ambivalence. But with the man, that's with my accent, they can't stand you. And there's a certain enthusiasm about hating. Hatred for many of them is almost like a kind of superpower. It gives them that kind of fulfillment. And the irony is, it's like there's a jealousy of your Western exposure, but they're Westernized themselves. It's just that they, in fact, I'll make the contention. I can't talk for other people. I think they're more Western than I am.
I was just about to say that.
They're more. I might have the accent. I might have a certain exposure that I can't help. I never asked for this. I just found myself in these circumstances. But when it comes down to Merez, if we're talking about liberal ideology, they smash me out of the park. If we're talking about even stuff like American popular culture, the reality TV shows, I'm a learner. I'm the apprentice. They're the masters. If it comes down to trends, feminist ideologies, even though I'm quite versed in that, they're superior. So then, and then on top of that as well, I think I mentioned this before, but ethnic labels, I tend to find they're a bit superfluous because most people are Westernized there anyway. The label is more like a kind of like badge. It's like, you get this, there's this for you, there's that for you. You take this label, you take that label. But when it comes down to, they are far more similar. There's a convergence for Westernism. And if the West was to basically go down tomorrow, let's just say all of this, what we know as Western culture, just literally abracadabra gone. Do you know how many tears there'd be from them? A lot of them would not know what to do with themselves anymore. Did you get my point? But yeah, I'll just affirm in what you're saying, man. Like, yeah, they really, the zero-sum game mindset is very strong.
A lot of cool ass niggas in Nigeria, man. A lot of cool ass.
All right, one sec. Let's let Shaw talk. But before Shaw, let me just shout out Captain Tolson, man. Salute to Captain Toaster, man. You've always shown love on these streams, and I appreciate that. The 999 super chat. He says, I'll miss these live streams. Salute to you, bro. I appreciate that. Yeah,
that's why I had to come up here.
I hope people got value from these streams. I hope they were at least entertaining. I hope, I'm happy to be of service like that, man. I appreciate that. But I hope everyone understands my, I need to kind of move on. I need to kind of, change things a little bit, okay? But I appreciate
you can't be getting nigga pennies, Falcon Blizzak. I understand, man. Niggas don't like to pay, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it is what it is. But hey, let's go to Shaw 25. You wanted to jump in. What's on your mind?
Yeah, for a second I thought Smooth was like a black British dude, but then I heard that he's a black American. But yeah,
I'm not black American.
You're not?
No.
What are you?
I lived in the UK, but yo, go ahead.
Oh, okay, never mind. I almost got threw off by 10 seconds immediately. But yeah, as I was gonna say, well, there's this one guy in the comment section, JTC. He said that I sound like a chat bot. Like I'm some sort of automated. I'm not an automated.
Bro. Don't need to make any. It's not personal to you, okay? Let's stick with the topic.
I'm not taking.
Let's stick with the topic. Yeah. Stick with the topic.
Yeah, okay.
You want to say something pertaining to the topic?
Yeah, I want to say that, like, in terms of like actual lifestyle and wealth, be
Mhm.
sure to, like, stay in the UK, because I think that, like, in terms of job opportunities and actual income, UK is far more superior than any other country in the world, hands down. I'm gonna be honest with you, and you'll get the support that you won't even get in America, because a lot of Americans now, I'm not saying a lot, some Americans now, they're just, struggling, and that's what it is. America is not really a country of land of the free. It's only the land of the rich, wealthy,
What about
class.
Canada? Is Canada the same in your opinion?
No, it's actually way more expensive. I mean, it's expensive depending on the area where you live, because since I live in, I'm not going to say I live in I live in a poor neighborhood, but I live, in a middle class, like, as of now. That's how everything is going. Like, I don't ever want to become super rich, and, because, like, nowadays, I'd rather be someone that's, like, unknown, and just make my way to UK and start there off, because here there's just way too many, like, problems, like, that people be abusing, and, it's actually far more worse than it is in America compared to in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanna go to from Yashua with the original question I asked about feminism and if that is a good enough reason to emigrate. What do you think, Yeshua? Is Yeshua there? Still some freedom left. He's writing in the back chat. Yeshua, do you think?
Hello?
Yeah, salute. Do you think feminism is a good reason to emigrate from the West?
Well, I think it is if you're trying to have a family. But if you're not, then you may as well just kind of ride it out. I can't imagine Black British women being as wild as Black American women are here in the States. I just, I mean, I've never been to the UK, but I don't think you guys really get it unless you come here. But yeah.
Okay, I've heard that a lot.
Bad.
People think that. Okay, Smooth, you're saying it's just as bad.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't know. Unless you have you experienced both?
Absolutely. I've lived in both. I lived in the UK for 4 years, man. Them bitches spoiled, man. Oh, sorry. Them girls are spoiled, man. You know what I'm saying? Just like over here, it's absolutely no difference. I hear the same complaints. I mean, Falcon Black got a whole damn channel in this space, man. And he lives in the UK, so it already shows you that look, man, like it's not all honky dory and all that shit over there at all.
It's weird though, because I knew a black Black British lady, and she's probably somewhat as old as my mom, so she's maybe like 50 something, and she seemed really posh. She seemed really posh, really polite.
She's 50 something, bro.
Yeah, and I guess she married an American GI, decades ago, and then she came over stateside. But I'm guessing maybe Black British women who are younger, they're maybe not like that.
Yeah, decades ago they were different, right? Different demeanor decades ago.
Exactly.
Maybe.
But no, 1 second, let me just shout out this super chat from Rocky N with a $10.
Yeah, Rocky is another person that lived in the UK.
He says Final Fantasy free bands for the Ibiza Greek Isle funds. Thanks for the content. Salute to you, Rocky N, man. I really appreciate you guys rocking out tonight, man. Appreciate.
You should really reconsider with the live streams, man. Maybe just do it once a month or something instead of time. You know what I'm saying? Just some shit for the fans. Once the views start going up, the subs start going up through the pre-records and stuff, man. Every now and again, you could do a little live stream for the fans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have a little interaction going on.
The thing is, man, I need that
Saturday night.
Yeah, I guess so. But man, once I don't know. Once the fatigue.
Once a month.
thing,
Once a
man.
month, though. You got at least a day, a few hours in a month, bro. In 30 days, my nigga.
We'll
30
see, bro.
days.
We'll see, bro. We'll see, bro.
Come on, bruv. Come on,
We'll
bruv.
see. We'll see, bro.
Yeah,
Okay.
Come on, bro.
The smooth guy sounds like he's, Black American. Yeah, like by the way of the ebonics and like the tone. Yeah, you definitely sound like one of those.
Hey, Shaw 25. Do you
Why,
have a
fam,
problem with Black
relax, fam.
Americans?
No
Why
disrespect.
you calling man's Black American for, fam? What's wrong with you?
No, you sound like one. Like it's like the accent automatically like changes and everything. Like immediately, like when I first hear you, like it's like you guys are so good. But anyways, as I was saying,
We're so good.
No, like pulling it off, like and then trying to like. But what I was trying to say is that like now. You see, guys like King Riches, who started from the bottom. He was doing that panel with O'Shea Vlogcast, Senator of Truth, what's his name, Marlon Mackey, and all these guys. And then look at him now, I remember him saying that he lived in America for like 5 years when he was like as an NCAA student and stuff. And he said that when he was in America, he had it much more rough than he did in UK, and he actually
really, you said that.
Yeah, King Riches, but he said he was living in South Carolina or somewhere.
Yeah.
Of course. Are you going to South Carolina? I mean, come
What's
on.
wrong with South Carolina? I'm ignorant.
The smooth guy's one heck of an actor, man. Like he sounds Black.
One sec, Shaw. I want to understand what's wrong with North Carolina.
No, there's nothing wrong with North Carolina, but I mean, I don't know South Carolina. I don't know if they really popping like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Edward. I don't know if they're really popping like that, but North Carolina would have been a different experience. I mean, come on, man. Them girls be fawning over dudes with exotic accents and stuff, man. He should have gotten at least some play off the accent alone for at least 2 years out of the 5.
I don't know. I mean, the Carolinas are cool, but it's definitely a different experience. If you're in America, it really still kind of is a bit more of a get out and get it kind of country. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's if you're used to being in Britain, it may be a bit of a culture shock. But if you are that kind of get out and get it kind of person, you might do well here. I mean, I think America should be an option that a lot of Black Brits should really think about, because I do think it's pretty decent out here. I mean, I'm in Georgia, I've been to South Carolina plenty of times, so I'm familiar with the region. But
great point, bro.
It won't. I don't think it will be that much of a.
One sec. Yeah. Salute to Blaze once again, man. I really appreciate you rocking in tonight with the $10 super chat. He says, "Where are the loonies, Shaw?" Keep putting your foot in your mouth. It's entertaining. Put some ducks up for the Falcon. I appreciate that, Blaze. Shaw, 1 second. Don't take it personally, Shaw. But Blaze, I appreciate the support, man. I really appreciate you looking out. So salute to Blaze in the building.
Hey, yo, Falcon Black, I will send you a super chat, but you see the way my account is set up right now, you know what I'm saying? If I do that, I'm going to go in the negative. No, I'm just playing. Hey, but to what dude was saying, right? Falcon Black, you in London, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think it would be that much of a culture shock for you if you move to a city like, say, anywhere in the Northeast, right?
Charlotte.
Or what? New York? Are you
like New York, Jersey, Philly? You understand me? It's more. It would be more of your vibe, especially New York. Being fast paced and everything. Being that London is just like that. You know what I'm saying? If you came down to the South, I would say you would get a culture shock, because being from London, so diverse and so fast paced, the South is a lot slower than up north.
I think I like that Southern accent though, man. When I hear it,
yeah, even dudes over here, they love girls with the Southern accent, but Chicks be trouble, man.
I hear that. I hear that. But let me read out this super chat and then we'll progress a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Salute to Captain Tolson once again, man, with a $4.99 super chat, man. I appreciate the support, Captain, man. Good to have you in the building as well. It's getting a bit reckless in here, but hey, it's the last stream, so hey, why not? He says America is the land of opportunity, quote unquote. Hey, you know, again, like I'm starting to think about it because again, like I raised earlier on, the small houses, the congestion. Like, I don't know what it is. I know Diego said like America has a good way of promoting this culture, but it just feels more, I don't know, progressive, more space, like, you know, healthy, financially speaking, from the economics, you know, it just feels more live. Like when I think about Fresh and Fit, for example, you know how these guys can just set up a podcast, set up a studio, and just get lit just like that. You don't really see that like that here in the UK, like natively. You know what I mean?
It's not the culture, though. You need to understand that, you know, European culture is a little more conservative and reserved. You understand me? America is always, from the offset, has been, you know, bigger is better. You know what I'm saying? Promote. I mean, the fact that people to this day, or the fact that you're even saying what you're saying right now, Falcon, that's the same thing I used to say before I moved out here. And I get it in terms of opportunity, definitely, but you get opportunities in the UK as well. And however, in terms of maybe getting your money up, yes. If you're trying to move out here for money, strictly for that, I would understand. Absolutely. You know, setting up a company, all of that stuff, definitely. But anything other than that, forget it. Definitely not for the women.
I hear Houston has a lot of Nigerian expats over there. I don't know if some of you guys have been out there, but that's what I've heard.
Mostly in the southern part of Houston, mostly. Like you find a lot of Nigerians like around the Sugarland area. And
okay, salute, bros. We got our boy Ephraim in the building. Ephraim doesn't bully his mic on the mic, so I want to let Ephraim have his let him say a word. What do you think? Like whatever is on top of your mind, but should Black British people leave the UK in your opinion?
I would. I mean, evening, Falcon.
Yeah, good evening, man.
As this is your last live stream, I have to come in and
appreciate it.
idea. So thank you for this live stream and everything else in between.
I appreciate that, bro. Thanks for you for contributing and coming on as well, man, and supporting the show too.
Thank you. And yes, to the question as you said, I think it depends on the person. Well, it depending on the person, because you know, even if you leave or stay, the value is still the same. You know, we've just came out of a pandemic, and you know, and also we're just out of the EU, and also out of us in the EU, things are not going to be as what it used to be. You know, and I think Britain as a whole now, for where it's going, we don't know. We don't know where it's taking us to, in which the NHS is in dire straits. Many organizations are now taking on strikes and so on. So for us as Black people,
teachers are on strike.
Teachers on strike. For us as Black people, being in the middle is either should I stay or should I go kind of complex that we're in. And in terms of the future, I would say for us as Black people, it's either you stay or most of the time you would leave. Because nowadays, there's some Black people who are now thinking of moving away from England to mostly Africa in particular, because of, again, the lower cost of living, I think the more of the VAT, as you said, about the VAT race, the whole working life is way much easier in Africa than it is in the UK or in the West. Because
really, it's easier, you reckon?
I wouldn't say as easy as every day, but it's much more relaxing, not stressful. The only thing with stressful is most of the time is the money, or if anything, the logistics
Mm-hmm.
of living. But apart from that, things in itself is um things in itself is kind of okay, as long as you have a plan
Mm-hmm. Okay.
that you as long as you have a plan of where you're going, of what you're going to do in Africa, or where you are as your
Mm-hmm.
country origin. I think that's what's more important.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Great points, man. All right, panel, man. I just want to, for the last kind of subject that we want to talk about is racism. We spoke about the feminism in the West, but I mean, since we got, a few brothers from United States, Canada, and we got our British brothers over here as well, let's try and compare and contrast the racism in these regions, or in your ignorant point of view. Like, first of all, to the British guys, do we feel like the level of racism in the UK is a good reason to want to escape? Like, do any of you guys from Britain feel like the racism is just so overwhelming, and it inhibits your freedom of expression and your social mobility? Let's start with the British guys first, and then we'll make our way to the West.
No.
Hmm.
Yeah, no. Do not get me wrong. I'm sure that many brothers can have had look, I've had experiences in the past where I felt like that, but as time has got by and I've had more life experiences, I would say no. One way or another, there's always going to be a challenge wherever you're at. Kind of mentioned on the stream that it's not every area you're going to go to which you're going to be embraced. So when it comes down to the racism, the question comes down to what can you do to circumvent it? You can't control what people think and what they can do entirely, but you can control what you can do, right? So you work with that. So in essence, no. It's not perfect, but I think from what I know that maybe in the US there's possibly greater issues, greater challenges in those other places. But yeah.
Okay, guys, can I chime in? Let me just chime in.
One sec, Shaw. You come after Shaw. I just want to go to Ephraim. I'll go for the UK people first, and then we'll come to you. Okay, Ephraim, what do you think? Do you think the racism here is overwhelming and it stops you from growing in the country?
I don't think it's overwhelming, even though most of the time, as what Diego has said, as you get more life experience, you start to realize that maybe there are certain areas that you know yourself that you're not mostly wanted, or anything when regarding of who you are. I think that in itself could be at disadvantage, especially if you're in a country where, if anything, in my opinion, I think the UK is maybe least racist than other European countries in terms of us as Black people. Because if you look at outside of the UK of how they treat Black people, I think you have to just be lucky that you're living in a country which is more tolerant. Because even countries like Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, they still have a kind of pejorative view of Black people, because there was a TikToker who went to Sweden, and within one night after going to Sweden, he was stopped 5 times by police. And that in itself,
I heard that, and I was surprised by that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that in Sweden, itself, Norway, super, like they are. Yeah, you're right in that they don't have a lot of Black people there, so their views are kind of still a bit, how can I say it, like immature, right? But they are very, very, they pride themselves on being liberal. So I think they would know better rather than to harass and to stop a random Black person.
I think, but that's more, to me, I think that's more of a cover, because I've not been to the country in itself. But if you have been stopped 5 times by police, and if anything, you've not done anything which is incidental, I think that indicates something of how the country views you as. Because if countries like Sweden and Norway are seen as liberal, and there's in the country in itself, there's racism. Countries like Poland and now what's happening with Ukraine, they have made verbatim, they made themselves sure that they don't like black people. So for me, I would say apart from the UK and Germany and France, I would say those are the three countries which would, if anything, to a degree, tolerate black people. But I think in the UK, I think we're least racist because so far, even though there is this push of late of where there are certain activists who come on TV trying to push this kind of agenda, what's happening in America to the UK, British people know themselves that they cannot afford to let that happen. Especially with what's been going on with the Prince Harry and Meghan debacle of her the royal family being racist to her. I think the UK knows. I think the people in the UK know themselves that there are more pressing issues.
Right.
Racism now.
Right. Great points. I'll just go on record and saying that I've walked through Oslo and other Norwegian cities, Stockholm, other Swedish cities, Copenhagen, and I felt pretty safe. You know, I felt very welcomed by the general population. But I would say this, especially when I spent a longer time in some of these places, that there is a difference in treatment as a foreigner that's there, you know, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and you're also, you know, you're embracing the people like, oh, it's so clean over here, you're so polite, oh, skiing. But once you're there for a while, then you start to hear some ignorant, like stupid, like immature comments and belief systems, you know. So it's like there's a clear difference from just visiting over a weekend and being there over a few months. You know what I mean?
I get what you mean.
Yeah, but great points. Let's go to Shaw 25 because he wanted to jump in. Then we'll go to the American guys about racism.
All right. Here's my whole take on this. You know, I think that, you know, United Kingdom in general is a great country for Black British men to stay. Even, you know, parts of Netherlands, Holland, and stuff. Because most of the people in UK, like local people in any countries of Europe, they do have an understanding of English to an extent. It doesn't matter where, you know, and so like that's one thing I have to say, you know. And another part I have to say is that like it's like saying this, it doesn't really matter to an extent, you know. The only reason why I'm going there is because like I have a British passport and I can settle there, you know. I don't have an American citizen. If I went to America right now, I would be considered, you know, an illegal alien because like, you know, I don't have the passport or citizenship to actually go there, you know.
Isn't there like some sort of partnership? One sec, isn't there like some sort of partnership between Canada and America where they will give you leeway to settle in their country?
Yeah, you can easily settle there and stuff. You can just apply for visa and get a job and everything. It's just that I don't want to go there. Like I think that, you know, going there is just useless.
Legal alien.
Wait, Smooth. I'm just curious, man. What's your background? Like, I know.
Okay, you're veering off track. You're veering off track a little bit. We're gonna get to.
I'm just so curious.
Fam, relax, fam. Relax, fam. Not on the.
One sec, Smooth. Don't antagonize him, bro. Come on.
Yeah, like I get pissed off if some people make certain things, but you know, that's the whole purpose. Like people need to start understanding the dynamic, you know, of the economy and stuff. Like the United States like is just a country that like it depends which state you go to, you know. If you go to New York, if you go to somewhere like Pennsylvania or somewhere in the like, you know, Eastern Hemisphere, you're more likely to face discrimination and racism as a black man compared to somewhere in the Midwest where it's actually not so racist. It's, you know, a bit balanced.
Okay. Let's let the Americans decipher that. So we want to ask the same question to the Americans: is the racism in America so overwhelming that it will make you want to emigrate as a black man? So we can go to either Smooth or Yahusha.
Yeah, I could let Yahusha go first.
Anyone is cool.
Hello?
Yeah, is
Yeah,
America?
am I mic'd up?
Yeah, we can hear you. Do you think America, the racism experience in America, is so extreme that it would make you want to emigrate? It would make you want to, pick up all your roots and settle somewhere else?
No, I don't. I actually think the racism issue is a bit exaggerated compared to the media. I'm sure if you look at the media, you're just going to think like there's a cop standing on some black guy's neck every day, 24/7, and this and that. But it's not quite like that. Now, I would say maybe 85% of the racial issue, or maybe 80% of the racial issue in the States is really based off of the cops and not really so much just regular everyday people. I would say if you would solve...
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, if the policing issue was solved, I think that probably 80% of the racial animosity that you seem to hear in the media would probably go away. It's not really like just everyday people, this and that, and all these sort of things. A lot of it just gets over exaggerated from these police departments. But I don't think the racial issue in America in real life is usually as bad as what people would think it is from watching the media.
Okay.
No. Let me just say that. Then why is it that like disproportionately like whites do not like to be around blacks? Like any wealthy white person like to surround themselves around like black neighborhoods in U.S. But I mean in UK, like you can live anywhere you want as a black person. Doesn't matter if you're around Indians. But like, why is the hatred so like surreal? Amongst that between blacks and whites in America compared to anywhere else? Like, I just want to know that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, wealthy white people are kind of like a class unto themselves. I mean, they just sort of are what they are, and they're separate. But I mean, as far as blacks in the UK go, I don't think there's really too many blacks outside of the whole London, Birmingham, what is the other one? Manchester
Brixton.
Triangle?
Brixton.
That whole kind of area is pretty much where all they stay. And then outside of that, you don't really see much. But here in the States, it's pretty much nationwide where you get black people.
Yeah, I know. And that's a good thing, actually. But the thing is, like, what purpose does it actually serve? Like you're telling me that they're widespread. Why do you think a lot of people now seem to think that
Okay, Shaw, I'm gonna have to cut in. We're gonna go to Smooth because Shaw, these are Americans living in America. It's like you're trying to tell them it's like you're trying to tell them what they should be experiencing.
I'm not telling them to go to UK. I'm saying that the British black folks, you stay in the UK because when you move to the United States, it's like a whole different world.
Okay. Let's let Smooth answer the question. Let's let Smooth answer the question.
Yeah.
Is the racism in America overwhelming enough for you to make you want to emigrate?
No, it's not. No. It's not overwhelming. It's not so bad that you about to leave. Yo, fam, like, nah, let's not do all that stuff. And I do understand your sentiment, the sentiments of others and all of that stuff regarding, what goes on here and stuff, but everything is really overplayed and stuff. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's more cops over here killing white folks than they killing black folks because it's more white folks than there's black folks out here. You understand what I'm saying? So don't buy into the whole racism part. Don't get me wrong, it does exist, right? And a rich white person is not going to be, it's really not even going to want to be around broke white people either. You understand me? They'd rather be living next to a rich black person than living next to a broke white person. You understand what I'm saying? And ideally, they want to live next to a rich white person just like them. So, nah, it's not that. At this point in America where we at, everybody can see that it's more classism than it is racism.
No, and
You understand what I'm saying?
and no, but the media always tries to paint white folks as if they're some sort of racist. Look what they did to Bill O'Reilly, you know, of Fox News. They kicked Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, but Bill O'Reilly, that's not the best example.
No, like he got kicked out because of what happened, but in that thing, and then now he still has a platform and stuff where he speaks, but yeah, man, smooth.
Yeah, but Bill O'Reilly didn't get kicked out over racism. It was over sexual harassment. Too many women came out over him, and Bill O'Reilly was a pundit.
He got me too.
He got me too. Yeah. That's why they kicked him off, not because he was racist.
No, I'm conservative to the core. I think that the UK is a good country for African Americans to come. That way it would solve that issue. And there'd be more.
It's not a big enough issue. It's not a big enough issue for them to move.
Okay. So then why is it a problem that a lot of people are now facing eviction and a lot of things happening in UK? Like there's a lot of crazy things happening on the media.
Yeah, but that's not due to racism.
Then what is it, man?
It's the economy. We're looking at a freaking recession. We're looking at overinflated housing price. The same way they had a credit crunch in the UK. You understand me? So that has nothing to do with racism.
Yeah, but still, it plays in a role in socio-economic status. That's how it is, and this is a problem. That's the thing with a lot of you people. Once you get a certain level of money and fame, you start to devalue yourselves from your own community. And
okay, bro. I mean.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, y'all can answer that if y'all want.
No. I appreciate no. I appreciate you all coming through. We're hitting the 3-hour mark, and just to be fair to my Black British audience, I'm gonna have to let the Black British guys have the final word, okay? But I'm gonna I want to say I appreciate all you guys for coming through. I appreciate you showing the support, giving us your American point of view. Okay, so salute to everyone who came through, Smooth, Yahoo Shah, and Shah25. But now I want to get some closing thoughts from the Black British guys with regards to if Black British people should leave the UK. I obviously enjoyed hearing the the American viewpoint, the Canadian viewpoint, but we need to get back to the you people, man. I don't like how that sounded. You people. I don't like how that sounded, bro. You people. That's suspicious. But Ephraim Diaguefe, we want to go with closing thoughts now. Appreciate everyone in the comments showing support. What if we can just put this topic in a bowl, your final words. Should Black British people leave the UK? Yes, no, or a solution? Anything that's on your mind, just to end off the show if you want.
I would say, again, this all lies to the individual, because in the UK we're a small minority, but if anything is more, as long as you have a plan and what is best for you in the UK. If you want to settle down with the average UK person, well, that's on you. If you want to leave and live your life outside of the UK, that's on you too. Because at the end of the day, no matter where you go, no matter where you are who you are, and also you are also your image and your character, dictates who you are outside of the country you are in. I think for us as Black people, as the internet is getting wider and so on, connecting with other people, I think it's best to have a whole diverse range of in terms of business, of portfolios, so that if the worst is yet to come in the country that you're in, at least there's a plan B of where, if you go to, let's just say Sierra Leone, things ain't going well for you in the UK. You can go to like your mother or father's place of origin to start afresh. So that's my take on this.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ephraim, it was good having you on. I appreciate your viewpoint, and as always, I appreciate your support as well. So salute to Ephraim Mackworth in the building.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
peace out.
Peace.
And last but not least, closing thoughts for Diego Ife, aka Diego Harry, if you want.
Yeah, guy, can you hear me? I had to switch to my laptop because I lost battery.
Yes, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I know it got a bit long-winded, a bit reckless.
No problem. But yeah, man, no, I think this is definitely a topical conversation to have. I would say that I think self-awareness is the key thing for Black UK people, because I think if you're gonna stay here, try to look for the best or lucrative opportunities, I guess the best balance in terms of lifestyle, or consider outside, you have to ask yourself ultimately what it is you want, because, and this it strikes at the heart of that assimilation question, because like I said, many people will overperform where their parents come from, but the reality is they don't really have roots there. Maybe the greatest that might be, like Detty December, where they'll go, December trip, party and stuff like that, but that's as good as it gets for them. So if they haven't got anything else there, then what's the end goal? And are they looking for an experience, or are they looking to build something longer term? But I think they should definitely engage in a lot of what I call, like, basically sort of soul searching. You understand? I think that's the most important thing, man, because I genuinely don't think that everybody, can follow the same kind of, if you will, solution or path of perceived progress. You understand? Yeah, I don't think that's the reality behind it, man. So in essence, I think, yeah, people just need to ask themselves those questions, man. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
Diego.
what I'd say.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on and all these other streams as well, man. So salute to Diego if in the building, always coming up on the panel, always sharing knowledge. So salute to you, bro.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Peace. And yeah, so salute to everyone who came through in the building, man. Yeah, this is going to be the last call-in show. So yeah, dry your eyes, mate. But, I'm going to obviously still be creating content, but I just want to, move away from the live streams, man. It's the juice ain't worth the squeeze in many aspects. I know it's entertaining, especially like tonight. I know, it's engaging for the current audience, which I'm happy for. But, I'm not feeling for super chats, because I see some of you in the chat saying, "Oh, people need a super chat." I'm not here. I don't need the super chats. It's just more, that's a token gesture, and that will keep me coming. Oh yeah, a little source of money. But yeah, my health, my sleep, life, and again, just making more motivational, impactful content. You have to understand, with a long form live stream, a lot of new people won't be able to dedicate time to watch a 2-3 hour live stream. You know what I mean? So these usually have the lowest viewer retentions. So it's, for a small channel like mine, it's not conducive for much, except for if you want super chat money, and you want to collect your little Google ads, your little Google check at the, on the 20-something of the month. You know what I mean? I'm not, this is not really what motivates me. So I hope you understand. Listen to the first part of the stream if you want to learn more about why this will be the last. I appreciate everyone for making it what it is. Everyone that hit the super chat, everyone who came on the panel, everyone who likes. I'll still be around, so you don't need to cry. Don't need to cry. But if that being said, let me see if there's any comments in the chat. Just to highlight, just for the last one. I don't know what Blaze is talking about, but he's saying it's corny as F. Tell us about Canada. Send Falcon some loonies. What are loonies? Yeah, Michael saying dry them eyes, mate. Kings and Queens in the building. He says, yo, we got to jump on mine sometimes, Falcon. Beg you, bro. Yeah, for real. I'm not normally on other people's live stream on the panel because, again, a lot of us do our streams late. And like my sweet spot for sleeping is like 10:30 to 11. You know what I mean? Like I wake up just feeling super, just like today. You know? And again, for you guys, man, health and fitness, you need to get that sleep in. You know, this is my core. This is what I'm supposed to be promoting, health and fitness. You know, so staying up till 1, 2, I can't do it, man. I'm getting old as well, bro. Salute to Kings and Queens. Sharion says it was great talking to the panel. Salute to you. But yeah, Sharion, when you just said it's you people, when you say you people, are you saying you Americans or are you saying you black people? That kind of hit us a little funny, man. I got some lyrics. Let me sing some lyrics. Dry your eyes, mate. I know it's hard to take, but her mind has been made up. There's plenty more fish in the sea. Dry your eyes, mate. I know you want to see her, how much this pains her. But you've got to walk away now. It's over. If only you Americans knew what song this was, man. It's funny. But anyway, man, I want to wish everyone a good night. Stay well, and I'll catch you some other place. Check out all the other streams, though, like Kings and Queens and KB Jones. And Diego Ife is also a content creator. Who else? Yeah, but check them out, man. Check them out. But anyway, for tonight, I'm going to bid you guys a farewell. And peace.